Jason Statham, he's the greatest guy in history. Jason Statham, he's about to hit a chestnut tree. There you go, I just repurposed that Simpsons thing, no divorced of context. Yeah, it's Dada-esque surrealism, Duncan. And anyone who doesn't understand is a vile creatine, the muscle building supplement. Creatine. Hi team. The Meg is on Netflix if you're AlfDem UK. So you can, for once, Duncan and I've got a film that we can just readily find on fucking Netflix, which makes a change. I'm afraid I've hurriedly put my lighting up today in my general setup, so I do apologise. If it looks shit, you know, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I just sat here. I'm just one man and his bottle of tepid fizzy drink. That's all I am, you know. So 54 of you in currently. That's exciting. Willkommen. It's just us. Do you know what? Oh shit, I forgot to replace... On that bombshell, Geary's window is sat empty. That won't do. I mean, I've only got one option, and that's to put a loop of Jason Statham dancing in that box, surely. What else would one do, given that situation? Right, that just seems apt. I'm going to do that. Talk amongst yourselves, Val Verde Broadcasting. How you doing? Willkommen auf dem... the stream. We're ready to rock and or roll with a bit of Jason Statham. What did we do this week? What did we do this week? What did we did this week? Oh, you did, yes, you did. So we'll be able to hear in an upcoming release the dulcet tones of Mr. Duncan. Hey, yeah. With shamanic magic, mystical music, so strong, keep coming on. Hey, yeah. With shamanic magic, mystical music, so strong, keep coming on. Scrapped. Hey, the scrapped. You're bloody Skype box all over the place. Keep talking, it's fine. I don't know how to go. Let's chuck to the stage. Carry on. As you were. We're close. That's because I can't read. I don't know how to read. Oh yes. I'm doing something for that, which I'm probably not allowed to talk about, but nothing. Don't get excited. Bit of prop work. I gotta get this lad out. If this lad in his hand. I'm substituting a still image of Jason Statham's gurney face to the stream, because the video just caused all kinds of chaos and you've been bounced around. So sorry everyone, I'm not addressing your chats at the moment because I'm patching the stream together with duct tape and gum because I'm a feckless idiot. Oh no, and you've just been talking. Wait, everybody, just been letting Duncan talk. What a fucking shambles. That's bad. That's good. Why is Duncan's NDI source not giving sound? That's weird. Okay, hold the line please. Okay, hold the line please, caller. I'm going to have to put Duncan Casey on hold. I'm going to put you all on hold. Okay, Duncan, talk.
1 2 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me?
There he is. We're starting again. Everybody. We're starting again. There was some error with Duncan's silence. So, that's the first few minutes of the stream.
Although we made £7 out of it.
We made £7. So, yes. Would you like to... Duncan told you about what he's been up to this week, which is actually quite interesting. And for some reason, I'm just used to turning this on and it all... I'm used to... Yes. You will have no oxygen. I'm used to this just working because I'm a lazy, feckless fuck. And I didn't do that. So, fine. Let's... You tell him what you've been doing. Tell him what you've been doing. Oh... What's Mr. Chips doing?
So, for a film described in. So I was some additional.
Now your Skype's breaking up
on that, which just
this is going swimmingly.
Shouted at a truck.
Yes, as soon as you launched into what you were trying to tell everybody, your Skype slowed down. This is going swimmingly, everybody. All right. Duncan.
All right.
Now you're fine.
So sorry.
Start again, my friend. I'm very dreadfully sorry. Start again.
Am I okay now?
I can hear
you. Right, third time lucky. So on Monday I did some looping for a film, which was fun. Went to Soho in London and went lip sync, which is a fairly high-end dubbing studio. And did some looping for Scott Ack, which was fun. So I shouted at various things, including a truck, which was cool. And so just did some voices for that. That was good. Been reading Mark's script all week as well. Been trying to get through that of an evening, but falling asleep, not because the script is boring, but because I've just been so tired. So I took an hour out today and just sat down and got it done, and it's really great. It's really good fun. So hoping come together next month. So it's definitely going to be a busy September, October. Going into November, I'm away as well in Italy. When did I say? November. I don't know. So yeah, it's all kind of gearing up and got lots on otherwise as well. So yeah, it's all kicking off. There
you go. We're having some connectivity issues. You were able to tell your story that time, which is good. But well, your Skype is not coping terribly well. I don't know from whose end that is. It looks like a broadband issue, but we just have to soldier on. Hey, if you fucking oh my god, and now you're big again. It could be at my end. I don't know. When the there's probably a way to lock that in NDI. When your bit rate falls, it shrinks your window. And I keep trying to catch up by resizing it, and it doesn't want that. Highest bandwidth, please. Latency mode safe. Okay. And I
don't know if
big again.
My broadband's been okay all day, but
unless it's at my end, but that would be weird.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. I mean, I know they've been doing work on our book, but I mean, I don't know. Sorry if it's...
It seems to have settled a wee bit. Dreadfully sorry. No, dreadfully sorry. So hello everybody. Fucking hell. Now we've started. Z says, hello Z. We haven't seen you in a while, Z. Did I see Z? I misread that comment. Maybe I didn't. I'm just having some kind of aneurysm. Callum says, no, Geary this week. He was gay. No, Geary's busy. He's busy. But he'll be back. We like Geary. We like it. We like Mike, much like that film that's about Michael Jordan and the boy with magic basketball shoes or whatever. I don't know. I didn't watch it. It's probably on Disney Plus. I'm not going to watch it. I'm still not going to watch it. And that's
so I'm going to read some paid pals. This evening we are okay, as you can tell, utterly shambolic, but
yes,
we are raising money for Omar, who I'm not sure if he's here, but if I don't know. I don't want to be indelicate, but Omar's dad very sadly passed away at the weekend. So please send him your love. But we had a chat with him yesterday, and we want to kind of raise some money for the charity to who
I'll put raise money. Logo on screen. And I'm going to put whilst you talk about this, I'm going to put the sorry, we've been so busy today. I'm going to put the link in the description. You talk it out, and I'm going to put the logo up and stuff.
Well, no, it's just to say that it's a charity that raises money for the illness that Omar's dad suffered from, and I believe Omar suffers from as well. Hey, Omar. So Omar is here in the chat, so please send him lots of love and give him all your best wishes. We're going to obviously donate either if you send it through our PayPal or through super chats and stuff, we will get it donated to was it the PSP Association?
PSPA. Yeah, it's the PSP Association. Yes.
So they can be found obviously if you just Google PSPA or PSP Association. Or we will, provide links and stuff. But yes, we're raising money for that tonight. So if you guys would be so kind, that'd be great. But just to read out what's been sent in the PayPal so far. My dad sends £10. Says evening lads. Hope you're well. Thank you, Dad. Annalise Moskland sent us £10. And said, evening guys, just want to thank you again for being a highlight of the week. My grandfather's very ill, so it's been a rough week, but now I'm just thinking of undulating silver Statham and my day instantly improved. All the best. Thank you. And Annalise, she also sent us £5 and said, okay, just had to send another few quid because the audio issues had me in stitches. You guys are the best, and by best she means worse.
But it's very delicate of her to pretend otherwise.
And Wing Kong Exchange just sent us £10 in the super chat and says, sorry Omar, this one is for you, man.
Yes,
so thank you.
We'll gather all that together and donate it on your behalf, and then the rest, if you could go to the link that I'm going to provide shortly, which I'll put in the video description if you want to give anything, and that's for the PSPA. I'm just sorting all this out now in my own shambolic way. Big text, guys. I'm so this stream is just, the wheels are coming off, and we've barely even started.
We're busy boys, and this is, not that this should be any, this is not an excuse. This should be good, but
it should be good.
But we're just running to the ground.
So
I think it's non-stop.
I've got Type to Your Bleed fans, which don't exist yet because it's not a film that's out. We're getting close to the end with that. So for my part, I've been putting a lot of time into that on top of the stuff we do for work. So that's we've had matte paintings by Dan Lyles. We've had CGI creations by Rob Myers. We've got music by Liam Taylor. It is all kicking off. So that's one of the things we've been doing. So if you go to the link in the video, there is a PayPal link, or there will be in just a moment, to donate to PSPA, which we're doing in memory of Omar's dad. But of course, if you just give stuff to us, we will donate it on your behalf as well. The PayPal link's ideal because YouTube takes a third of everything that comes through. Because they're bastards. There you go. Yeah, demonetize out your shits. So yeah, that's for the PSPA. So we'd be very grateful if you could give all proceeds to there this evening. But mostly we're here to watch British hardman Jason Statham.
You look like you read that off a crib sheet. You looked down. It was like British hardman.
I was playing with these LED remotes, but
okay.
I quite like that I accidentally created an artificial artifice. That's quite good. It's like, he's fucking Captain Auto Q over here. Up in this bitch. So, team, we've got Carl Goddard gave £5. Just thinking of Omar as well. Wing Kong as well. Thank you, Wing Kong Exchange. We will do a total. Sam Montgomery gave £2 earlier when they couldn't hear anybody, and that will go to Omar's designated charity of choice as well. So, Jason Statham. Former Olympic diver Jason Statham, which seems appropriate for this week.
Yeah,
I felt, I say I felt the Statham week was your idea, and a good one. And a good one it is too. Good one.
So I'm still a while ago we got Patreons to make suggestions, and despite my best efforts, no one has voted for the French Connection because you're all shit.
Philistines.
So yeah, I just went through and I was like, well, what's a common thread here? And one of them was was the Stath, so that's what we went with. But weirdly, this one, I mean, I put this up against Transporter and Crank, and
Yes.
Transporter was nowhere. I was expecting that to have more love than it did, but yeah, it was close, I think, between this and Crank. But for some reason, the Meg won.
That's surprising. I think it's because, you know, we quite enjoy you saying it's a megalodon, which is approximately 1.5 seconds of a 2-hour film.
quite a small nail on which to hang your hat. But, I mean,
hey, fuck it. I'm happy to talk about the Statham, his his weird career, his strange, all the way from Commonwealth diver to sort of global action star. It's been quite, and as you, those of you who made it to the countdown will see former music video dancer, and as you can see, you know, right next to me as I speak, next to Mr. Guy from Malaysia, doing a fabulous gurn. It's this amazing gurney face. I was really down to the wire tonight, but I dived into Adobe Premiere with like 4 minutes and just made a compilation of not a very good one, but you know, it is.
It doesn't have to be. It's just the thought that.
It's the thought that counts. A man who has apparently always had a shaved head, except for in his you can find a clip of him diving in the Commonwealth Games in 1990 on YouTube, and he has a very full, thick head of, well, you know, widow speak, but full head of black hair, all slicked back. He's probably better at diving now. It's more aerodynamic.
I just can't imagine. Yeah, I can't ever really picture him with hair. To be honest, it's just not. But that's what gives you eternal youth, isn't it? It's sort of the Patrick Stewart effect. It's kind of like, well, you always look that way, and that's why you're going to look young forever. I'm going to age
forever young.
Ungracefully.
I want to be forever young.
The Taste Police are here too.
Good one. Where's the fucking the Taste Police and what I call the motorcycle cunts that come every week?
I used to. Do you know what? You reminded me as well, because I used to have the midnight rider, as I used to call them, when I used to live in Oakington, which is a village
midnight rider
just north of Cambridge. It's weirdly,
yes.
So me and my mate, my Bezzy Jimmy, he used to live at one end of the village and I lived at the other, and usually around 2 or 3 in the morning, we would be woken up by some obnoxious twat hoofing it through the village on probably a moped, and it was always like wow, and it was always like crazy, you know, the small hours of the morning, and I'd hear it, and then, you know, obviously a few seconds later he'd hear it when they got to his end of the village, and it's just sort of a running thing. I don't know if it's just someone who does that around Cambridge, because there is the man who rides around Cambridge on a bike with a carrier bag and a speaker in it.
Yeah, we used to call him Bag of Metal Man because he always plays like Slayer and he has them in manky carrier bags.
I know, it's like, and that he was doing that decades ago, right? And now you see kids doing it on their stupid scooters or whatever, and it's like, is this a service you're providing?
Is this nationalised?
I didn't. Yeah, he's franchised it or something, because it's like, I didn't ask to hear your shit music. I'm not, you know, like,
right,
I was just having a nice day out with my family. I didn't want to hear fucking, I don't know, whatever shite it is. And it's like, they just walk around. It's like, put headphones on.
You see the people do that on the train. It's like, who the fuck do you think you are that we all want to listen to whatever the fuck you've got on? Like, you know what I mean? Like, on a train. Like, who fucking does that? What's wrong with you?
I know.
You're just a cunt, mate. I'm not even in a mood. You're just a cunt, mate. Well, demonetise us, you shower cunts. Anyway.
A Klingensmith sent us.
There's the Z. There's the Z. I bloody knew she was there somewhere.
Oh, okay. It says for Omar. Sorry for your loss. Sent us 951. Which I think that's just because people send it as a paying for a service or good, which means annoyingly you're paying Google a percentage. But never mind. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, we shall, as I say, denote and donate.
We'll crunch the numbers and denote everything. So just a reminder, we're making money for PSPA, which is chosen by Omar in memory of his dad, and that is, I need to say what it is, Progressive Supranuclear Palsy. The Progressive Supranuclear Palsy Association. And you can read more about them at pspaassociation.org.uk. Right, shall we? What's time? There's so much. Oh my god!
8:35. We ought to crack.
Oh yeah, because we started late. Let's crack the fuck on. Yeah, everybody, get your copies of the
Saddle
Meg
up
ready.
your Megs.
Saddle up your Megs.
Giddy up your yeehaws.
Bye.
What?
What? I love that. And Jack ass.
Jason
Statham. That is a reference to a video that exists on YouTube called Jason W. Statham. It's very funny. And you Looks like you're viewing Netflix from more than one browser or tab. Am I? Why am I not allowed to do that? Eat my dick, you fuckers. Oh yeah, there we go. Really short-tempered. I, ladies and gentlemen, have had have ongoing problems with insomnia, and this week's been particularly bad. This has led me to. Though I sorted it out today, Duncan. I woke up on a reasonable time. I got a good night's sleep last night, but I've still got that residual short fuse.
Yeah, no. I'll send you a copy of Mark's script. I'll sort you right out.
Ah, yeah. I've read a few of his scripts. I didn't do that. I've read a few of his scripts, and I always enjoy them.
They are banging, man. They are. And the thing is, as well, I think it helps because I know Mark so well now. You know, it's kind of you read them and you go, oh yeah, because you know right what he's doing. So yeah, no, absolutely, it's a good one. Both the scripts of his that there's two, but they are fragmented. They're I don't want to give away too much, but yeah, there's multiple variations of each one. But no, it's cool. It's fun, really good fun. So.
Well, let's crack on to That Meg. Everybody get your copy of That Meg ready, and I'll let Duncan count us in. And Meg. There's Ben Wheatley's directing the sequel, which will be called Anne Megs, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. It's the obvious choice.
Sure, why not?
Here we go then. 3, 2, 1. Megalodon.
Megalodon. Oh, huh.
It doesn't play when you hit the play button.
It sure did.
Oh well, fuck it, whatever.
I'll skip forward like 2 seconds. That'll do. It was hardly an interruption at all.
It's a megalodon. Listen, what? It's not.
That's a undersubscribed. I think that's an undersubscribed impression. I think that's another one of yours that when you did it, I found it funny just because I'd never heard it before. So I think if Americans do it for like Saturday Night Live, they just go, "Ew, you bloody one, come on, nerves, jars and stuff." And when in actual fact, there's
YouTube insisted that I would love this video of Jamie Foxx, I think it was, doing Jason Statham, and I was like, oh fuck it, all right, fine. And he went, "I got this Jason Statham, man, it's brilliant." Blah blah. He went on and on, and eventually went, "Cool, blimey, governor, apples and pears, cockles and winkles." And it was just like,
that's Dick Van Dyke, mate. Like, at least.
What are you talking about? And everyone's like, and it was like, that's terrible.
Mark said he had he had an American mate say that to him, and Mark's Welsh. It's not even. We got the same actually. The lads from Deadmau5, because Chris is Welsh and Adam and Gary are Brummers, and. Someone's like, "Hello, mate, all right, apple for pear," and it's just like, no, like, what are you hearing exactly? That's like me going, "Howdy, y'all, I'm from New York City, yeehaw!" It's just this horribly tone deaf thing to do, but whatever, fine.
No,
Sorry, Americans. Hi, Americans. How you doing, Americans?
We love you, Americans, but there is a general sort of thing about you. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, the thing you have to remember is that, like, within their own country, they can basically experience any climate that they want. So it's kind of like you don't need to leave your country to go to Hawaii, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Your cell coverage and dollars are still good there, just as they are in Wyoming or anywhere else. So it's kind of I do get it. Like, I mean, so there's very little need to leave you.
And this is a country where you can travel for an hour and suddenly experience a completely different accent.
Yeah.
In Britain, you can travel not very far at all, and suddenly people use a completely different dialect.
Yeah.
So,
although apparently it's dying out. Apparently the northern dialects are dying out and being replaced with southern accents.
That's about time.
About time. Sean Bean won't be happy about that.
Not really. I will. I have to sort of. I have to do a bit of admin. You bastards! It's just not as good, is it? It's just not the same. Callum Chung. I've been dounced pub. So it's just not. Is it?
Well, apparently,
Hill.
Apparently, that is in the sort of RP accent is more common. I mean, as in, like, it's not. It was practiced by the educated classes, but it wasn't. Originally, it was quite a common accent.
It was a lot of like, the London accent from kind of a few hundred years ago. It seems sounded more like what you would expect from like Northampton now.
Yeah. There's a video of people doing the voice. The
voice for the ages or whatever.
Yeah, it's really fucking weird. It's like you can't imagine someone down the Elephant and Castle going like Danish. It's like what? What is this?
Ancient Cockney with Duncan Casey.
Yeah, it is a bit. Well, I know. I just sort of.
No. It was kind of how those things are.
It's sort of Chaucerian, now. So.
Yes, indeed. Ed Mason gives $4.99 and says, "Take care, Omar. The VVB family is with you." I need to address the comment of Callum Chung because Callum. Oh God, I'm gassy as well. Callum Chung, the comment of Callum Chung, which is alliterative, who says Statham does a reverse Dick Van Dyke in The One. He does an absolute fucking howler of an American accent in The One with Jet Li, and it's kind of like, "Hey, listen up, boss. I'm from America. We have to go try do the dimension crime," and it's just like, "Are you okay?"
Mate, he does it in the Transporter as well. I'm sorry, that's something that I'm not going to let him off the hook for. Like, people seem to just thought that he was British in those films, and it's like he gives it up halfway through one of the film.
He's like by the third one, he's kind of not doing it anymore. And it's not as bad as The One, and it feels like it might be sort of like a mid-Atlantic thing, but it definitely isn't his voice. Like, come on. What's other accents of Statham? Ghosts of Mars, another early career Statham, where his accent changes from scene to scene in that. It's like sometimes I think he's supposed to be South African, then he's kind of like British, and then Australian, then American. Again, it's sort of like, if you saw that in public, you'd be like, "Dude, can you smell toast? Are you okay?"
Burnt rubber.
Yes, indeed. Indeed.
One accusation that was lobbed at this film, I remember when it came out, was the sort of apparent cynicism around casting Chinese stars and setting it in the Gulf of China or whatever. And while there's a case to be made for that, I think what they quite smartly do is weave that into the plot, don't they? Because they said, they needed funding. They just make it part of the story. It
does kind of smack of that pandering. I'm not going to lie. Particularly at the end scene on the beach, there's like Chinese flags everywhere and stuff, and it's kind of like, yep, I can see who paid for this. Oh yeah, he's wearing Jordan 1s. So anyway,
what does that mean?
It's the trainers that. Yeah, no. Oh well, then you did know what it meant.
Well, I know what it meant literally, but I didn't know.
It means they're quite hard to get and makes sense. He's rich, like
But I mean, but again, it's sort of like I give it a pass because it kind of makes sense for the story, right? They just made it part of the story that they actually needed money from the Chinese to do this.
It has meta text to it, doesn't it?
In a very superfluous way.
It's based on a novel. This. It's based on a novel, so I don't know. They've got their eyes on Jaws. What is it? Do you know what? There is like the fact that shark movie is a genre, and there's just like there's a huge fascination with shark movies, isn't there? I mean, like we've talked about Deep Blue Sea endlessly, and I do think Deep Blue Sea is great, but and
like shark's fin.
Deepest, bluest. It's like a shark's fin. It's like a shark's lin. Yeah, it's a big fascination because even like obviously Jaws, of course, which was this massive phenomenon. Deep Blue Sea, this are the kind of big tentpoley ones, but then there's all the open water and all those type of things, and the thingy feet down, the one
47 meters down. That's
47 meters down.
In fact, my mate who I was doing the looping for on Monday initially produced that, as in produced the concept from which that film was taken. So there you go. It all comes full circle.
Well, then there's the B-movie ones, endless B-movie ones, and then the Sharknado ones, which are fake bad movies, and people will come out and pay money for shark shit. Like, I don't know what it is. People are. It's kind of like the way people are obsessed with dinosaurs as well. Like, and I get there's a bit more mysterious like with dinosaurs, and this is the best of both worlds, really, isn't it? Because it's a megalodon.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously the megalodon has been done in other films.
Been megalodon in other films.
It has been megalodon many a time, and there's lots of really stupid, cheap, versions. But I suppose this is the first time they did it as a big Hollywood thing, and it's an interesting thing to call it the Meg. As in, like, I don't know why they felt the need to do that, but
It's it's funny. I found it because I as far as I know, the novel's called The Meg. I could be wrong. I don't know 100%. But as a title, it did sort of make me sit up and pay attention. And also, the other thing was, this is such an unlikely starring vehicle for Jason Statham because it doesn't really feel like the kind of stuff he normally does. You know what I mean? He does lots of man on a mission films and kind of stuff like that. But for him to be in the kind of big, dopey tentpole shark blockbuster felt so strange, which made me all the more compelled to watch it. It was just, well, I'm definitely going to watch. Because quite often kind of mid-range action movies and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, obviously Fast and Furious and the spin-off, the Hobbs and Shaw.
Hobbs and Shaw, yeah.
Yeah, it just feels odd. But I'm down with it. I was absolutely down for The Meg. It wasn't as like... I enjoyed it because it mostly... If it didn't have Jason Statham in it, I probably wouldn't enjoy it nearly as much. But it's just the magnetism of the Stath.
Yeah, I mean... You're right. I mean, I do think there is that thing about shark films, and I think because we're into an era now where you can make anything do anything, it's harder to kind of, the thing that famously made Jaws what it was the fact that they just couldn't get the shark to work, so they had to do all these, they had to use clever cinematography and the score to sell it. Now it's like, well, look, it lives below. What is the thesis of this? That there's a sort of layer of gunk that under which.
Yeah, there's like, I think, is it like a tectonic plate or something? And there's a secret layer. Oh, is it gunk? It's gunk.
No, it's like, it's a sort of layer. It's a layer of silt or something that's suspended in the middle of the.
Amazing.
So they think it's the bottom of the ocean, but it isn't.
Actually, it's a kind of journey to the center of the earth type deal.
Yeah, that's where the Megs live.
I quite liked that also, by the way, later on, where they catch Anne Meg, but it's not the Anne Meg. You know what I mean? It's the exact thing from Jaws almost.
Jaws 3, isn't it? It's just Jaws 3 again.
The best Jaws.
if you're blind and stupid, I
am. As you know, visually impaired, and I'm certainly not the sharpest tool in the shed, so I'll take both of those descriptors. What links, Duncan Casey, what links Jaws 3D, The Best Jaws, which is its full title? What links Jaws 3D, The Best Jaws to Jason Statham, the Anne Meg?
Oh, I might have to think.
I don't know. I'm going to find actor. I'm going to find the actor's name. So I'll give you that much. It is a person.
Yeah. Is it the guy, the shark hunter guy, the British shark hunter guy?
Oh, yes, come on.
I don't know what his name was, but he, oh shit. I'm trying to think what he was in. Yeah, there was a thing he was in, wasn't there? But I don't know.
I need to check my facts. Just to make sure my facts are right. So he is, him and Simon McCorkindale are the shark hunters in Jaws 3. P.H. Moriarty was Hatchet Harry in Lock, Stock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well done. Very good. A little risky quizness.
A micro risky quizness. And a chance for me to reference Jaws 3 3D, the best Jaws. Jaws 3 3D : the best Jaws. Michael and Annalise do stuff. Go £5. They say, love from us to Omar. Wishing you and your family well. Our silly gits are up for entertaining you anytime. MJ1 Media gives $2 dues and says, hey guys, love the Meg, hated the fate of the humpbacks. So there you go. Yeah.
This is apparently a problem, is it? Because they do this thing now where they're dropping weighted lights or whatever under the sea. But this is something that a lot of people complained about with this. I'm going to bring it back to Titanic again because that just seems to be a running thing.
Please.
But there's a thing with like sea debris or whatever that they found around the wreck site of the Titanic. But there's these moves now to try and make it a preserved historical site because one of the things that's really damaging it is people. Is wreck tourism or whatever, with people landing on it and dropping, because if you come down in a submersible you have to drop things in order to go back up to the surface, and there's loads of just shit strewn around the site that's causing damage.
I've heard that, yeah, and there's lots because that's a very difficult site to reach as well. I mean, and it's
on the edge of very near to a ravine or something, and under
it's and that wreck is it's fated to collapse. It's not in the best of places. The wreck of the Britannic, however, is in cooler, shallower water. I love a shipwreck.
I do. It's fascinating to me, all the kind of.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's like yeah.
Because they all sank, didn't they? The Britannic, the Titanic, and the.
It's the Britannic, the Titanic, and the Olympic.
Yeah, the Olympic
Did
the Olympics sink?
I don't think so. Mark Garside says Jack DiCaprio's skeleton is preserved down there. It is. It's true. it's not with a door. Ironically, no
the
doors.
Door. No, the door. Well, no, but the bell fell on him, so that's what preserved his skeleton intact. Because that's the thing, is it like everyone's like any trace of humans is gone. It's just shoes and stuff that's left there, because it's something to do with like they bone calcifies or something, or that pressure and stuff does stuff to bone.
And there are microorganisms and stuff down there.
Yeah.
It's all kind of welcome to the Shipwreck Hour on Val Verde Broadcasting.
No, I get sort of obsessed with them, because I found out all about was it the Atlantic that was the greatest maritime, like non-military maritime disaster? Because I think that was back in the 1800s or something, but it capsized off. It tried to divert in a storm basically, and misread it was something to do with like they thought they didn't have enough coal on board, so they tried to redirect to wherever it was, and New England or somewhere, and hit the rocks, because there were the high seas and stuff, and they hit like an atoll or something, and it basically capsized. But because of how things used to work, it was like, if you back in the day, like men would come to the States from the UK and Ireland and set up shop and then send for their wife and children. Right. So the boats would be laden with single men and families, right? So they used to put the women and children in the stern and the men in the bow, and then I guess their cargo would go in the middle. And unfortunately, because of how it capsized, the stern went down first, so all the women and children drowned almost instantly, and all the guys got off like from the bow, and it was just one of the worst, because it happened so quickly as well. I mean, that's the thing, when the Titanic took something like 2.5 hours to sink, but when it sank, because someone did a thing where it was like, basically, if you were in the Titanic when it sank, you would probably last a minute, if that, as it sank, because the pressure would overwhelm you so quickly, and it wouldn't be like you would know what was going on. You would literally black out. You could hold your breath, but you'd just black out. Like,
I mean, it was called Titanic for a reason. It was this phenomenally large ship that was suddenly just dragged. But after that 3 hours, it just kind of went yeet, like fucking down.
If you look on, there is some footage online before it set sail of the captain walking around and them loading stuff onto it and stuff. So there's some video footage of the Titanic before it.
Look at my boat; it will never sink. Ha 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 ha. This way.
Well, that's what makes
Captain
it famous.
John Hubris was his.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Captain John Hubris beard. That's where he kept his hubris.
Trivialise real historical figures. That was my fault.
No, but that was the point, wasn't it? It was hubristic, because it can never sink.
Are you sure about that? Okay, just say, if you want to be modest, to the opposite, say it can never float, and then people would be really happy and surprised. Even if you got to the mid-Atlantic and sunk, they'd be like, to be fair, that's way more than they thought. It did float for more than a bit, quite some time, and then that's how I'd market it if I worked for the White Star Line,
which no one does anymore.
No, I think it's all because it got bought by Cunard. I think, like, organisationally, it still exists in some form, and then it was bought up by other people.
Yeah.
The Wing Kong Exchange gives £5 and says, somewhere Brad Watson is covering his ears. Does he just hate underwater-based movies? Let's get him on the line. I will for you, Wing Kong. I'm going to message Brad. And I'm going to say, can we have a statement for our listeners? about
he's sulking somewhere, but yeah, he's vehemently angry about this film. I think because of the Jaws references, right? Because there are some.
I can see that. Brad's just. This is the thing. This, as I said many times, Brad is just the nicest geezer. But if you get him on the things he doesn't like, you're going to hear all about him, and it's normally very, very funny when you do. I'm asleep in bloody Thailand or China.
And I'm maintaining my six-pack by drinking beer all day and wearing a sack.
So I mean, you just don't hear it done, which makes it funny. He's
get off my buzz.
Would you ever thought? I don't know if we talked about this. And it's something that I genuinely sort of want to talk about to some degree. Lock, Stock, right? So Lock, Stock, I know it got a bit of truck, obviously being like a foreign kind of movie to the States, it got a bit of truck, it probably got subtitled, I don't know. Dexter Fletcher, Sting, and I think his ex-wife kind of produced it. Vinnie Jones, it was a big deal that he was in it. But and a few people you know from TV and stuff, but mostly not a star-packed film in any way.
Yeah, Jason, I think Jason Fleming had the top billing on that.
He did do, yeah, and he was quite, and he's not even, because like Nick Moran really is the main character out of those four, because it's about him and his.
Nick Moran's really the sort of protagonist of it.
But Fleming got the kind of the sort of top billing. So it's Fleming, Dexter Fletcher, now a very successful director. He was a kind of child star here, really, and presenter of things. Nick Moran, Jason Fleming, Jason Statham.
Fleming, I guess, would have been off of Deep Rising at the time.
Oh, I suppose so. Yeah. I suppose so. Statham, I'd never seen him in anything before, heard of him before. He was in the follow-up Snatch. Looking at that film, when it came out and was a big hit, I never would have said to myself, in 20 years' time, Statham's going to be... I mean, you know, they've all done well enough, but Statham was like the big movie star. I never would have called that. I'm glad, because I love him, but it just seems so unlikely. When his career was underway, I think you could compare him to a kind of Schwarzenegger, and I don't need dickheads going like, "Hey, don't the same!" It's not what I'm saying. Saying a European...
His biceps are smaller.
Save you writing a comment. You will anyway. But he, you know, European, kind of unlikely European action star, does small to mid-range action movies in Europe and in the States. They get released on kind of mid-range labels, and then superstardom. I think you can plot the two things next to each other. I think they are similar.
Yeah, it's weird because he sort of got those vehicles just sort of hung around him all of a sudden, like Transporter and stuff. I think Transporter was probably the first one where it was like that was his thing. Yeah,
that really felt, because there was, I think, you know, as much as I love it, like the one was hardly a big smash. He went and did a John Carpenter movie almost immediately, to mixed results. That bloody Revolver, the Guy Ritchie film, was a huge mistake. But when they put because he is, you know, he does martial arts and stuff, and like he's an athlete, putting that kind of you know, the Transporter is a Euro action movie, which I believe had kind of Asian choreographers and stuff and Asian directors in it, so it had that style and played to his strengths. And you put him in a suit and go, Jason Statham has to take a suitcase to a place or whatever, and that's 10 movies that they've done where Jason Statham is a man in a suit who has to take a suitcase to a place and say the job a lot. You know,
rules. Was it? Look in the trunk.
No shirts, no shoes. Don't talk about Statham.
Yeah, well, because I think the Transporter movies had that real kind of Luc Besson feel to. They have a very sort of French sensibility.
Because did he didn't direct he produced them, didn't he? Did he direct the first one or no?
I don't know.
I'm pretty certain I'm going to check that.
That makes sense. But they do have a very sort of French feel to them. Taxi.
I think they were kind of Luc Besson Presents or something.
That makes sense.
The Transporter.
I mean, they're
Les
very
Transporteurs.
Yeah, they because they have sport, because obviously he did 3 of them, and then they tried a fourth film, and they
did a prequel. Yeah,
that's right.
They rebooted it with what's his name, Ed Skrein, and there was a TV show as well.
Oh right, okay.
So I like those. I really do, actually. I particularly, I'm a big fan of the second one because your man Jason Fleming turns up in the second one, which is nice to see.
He does, yeah.
But the second one just forgets to pretend that it's serious and just.
The second one is the most ridiculous film.
I know, that's why it's great.
The third one I really like because it's got Robert Nepper in it, who's fantastic as the villain.
As a villain, yeah.
He does a thing which I always sort of copy now, like wherever I can in performances, and I don't know why, but there's just this wide shot when he first meets him, and he's sort of talking about his car, and I don't know why, but it's like panning across the room, and he just walks past the car, and he does this sort of shaky thing with his shoulder, and I'm like, I quite like that. So I do it sometimes.
No, well, those little kind of micro things are the ones, aren't they? Those movies, I do like them. I like a lot of Statham stuff. I've said time and time again, I really like Hummingbird. Hummingbird, I found really surprising because I just thought, because on the face of it, it's about a guy with PTSD coming back to live in London, and it's like, well, I don't know, is he going to kick a red phone box into someone's nuts or whatever? But it's actually about kind of a man quite a good Taxi Driver style movie about a man with PTSD trying to cope with reintegrating in society and failing, with actiony stuff in it. But it's like, hey, this is really interesting. It has a lot to say about modern London. I think it's mostly in Soho. Yeah, I was like, hey, this is really quite interesting. I quite liked the one based on a book with Paddy Considine where he plays a cop and there's a serial killer, and it's called Smack, or, you know, Strike, or Don't Do That, or something. You know what I mean? Really, at the end of my fucking rape, I got to find out what that's called.
Because they started doing it the same thing. I think they wanted to have that with what's the one, the engineer, not engineer. What is it called?
Oh, the Mechanic.
Mechanic. Because he started, they did the Mechanic, and then they did the second one. Both enjoyable. Was the second? No, what was the one with?
I haven't seen the second one. I've only seen because that's based on a Charles Bronson film, which is based on a novel.
What's the one with? Is it Mechanic 2 with Jessica Alba, or is that a different one?
I think that's the second one.
Yeah,
I don't recall her being in the
Resurrection.
first.
Yeah, that's right. So we watched that not long ago, and it was fine. It was actually quite fun. But I mean, it was dopey, but it was enjoyable, and it's got like Tommy Lee Jones in it for some reason.
Oh, does it now?
Yeah, and that was all right. I mean, it didn't make any sense, and it sort of Jessica Alba was just sort of this really. I mean, I'm sort of surprised she did that, quite honestly. But it was fun. Like, it was a fun movie, you know. But again, it's just
look, why not?
a safe vehicle, you know.
Well, yeah, well, like the kind of Mechanic, because the Mechanic's based on it, so. I believe the book of the Mechanic is about, you know, the two main characters of the Mechanic. Like, in the book, I think that's like a gay relationship, and then in the Charles Bronson one, that wasn't going to happen. No. And then in the Statham one, they kind of reference it a bit, but don't really do it. So it's got a kind of slightly off the wall thing there. Have you seen The Bank Job, the Roger Donaldson movie?
Yeah, I think so.
It's based on a true story, but it's written by Dick Clement and Ian LaFrenne. They wrote Porridge and The Likely Lads and stuff. So it's got that kind of, and I think those guys did a Bond film, didn't they? They wrote a Bond film, those two. What's the one where he says like, do you know, the joke about pissing in the cup from the other side of the room with Sean Connery? He goes, I want you to fill up this cup, and he goes like, from over here or whatever. It's the same joke from Porridge. Oh, it's, they did touch ups on that. Someone knows. I've got a weird burst of energy. It might be. I just don't know. It's just half-heartedly throwing out trivia. Can I find it? Can I see it? No, never mind. Anyway, The Bank Job was great. I really like The Bank Job. I think he slotted into the. He does these ones every now and then. I think he slots really well into different genres. I think more so than you'd perhaps expect. And stuff like, you know, all the way from something insane like Crank, but then, as we've talked about a few times, he's a revelation in Spy. Like, watching Spy, like I think because he's just about the right mix of, you know, he's enough of a blank slate to put him in most things, but he still has his own discernible charm and affability, if that's a word, to elevate in the right way. You know what I mean? I mean, don't get me wrong, he's done some shite, but it's like he's always kind of watchable, and, you know, I don't know if it's a British thing or not. He seems very popular globally. Anyway. He seems to have done the business in the States, doesn't he? I mean, he's kind of like, I think also it's not one of the things I think that works with, say, Schwarzenegger is there is an inherent absurdity to him being anywhere. It's just like, what are you doing anywhere? You should be stood greased up on a podium. Like, like the idea of him at a certain point in his life, even just getting petrol, is like, why are you here? You're not a real person. And Statham has a little bit of that. There's that kind of, it's not nearly the same, and I think it's more through the lens of kind of 2000s sort of mentality, but like, there's an unlikeliness to him, I think, that makes him stand out. You know, I think there's a real kind of, you know, there's something about him that just kind of makes, and I think probably more so as an American, it's kind of like, who's this kind of like angry British potato that's throwing dinner plates in people's necks? Like, it's just, and I say that with the utmost respect. He's a very sexy man. I patterned myself after him, obviously, by choosing to get male pattern baldness. I patterned myself after Jason Statham.
It was a choice.
I chose it. Woke up one day and went, you know what? Don't need this. I'm going to be an angry Cockney potato. But he's not a Cockney, I don't think. I think he's from, where is he from?
I don't actually know.
I'm just fucking reading out the Wikipedia.
Burton on Tweed.
Burton on Tweed. Let's see. It's from Shipwreck in Derbyshire.
Bloody hell.
I'm from Shipwreck in Derbyshire. It's a Megalodon. It's 54, man.
Is he?
It's 54, dude. Like in this in particular, like because he pops his shirt off, of course. He's fucking so cut. Like it's insane. Like
it's got that sort of Dennis Quaid, Eternus.
Right, yeah. You got to wonder if it was just etched in there or something. You can kind of see it in his face, can't you? Like, but yeah, bags of time for the Stath, man. So much time for the Stath. For the pissing in the cup joke, it's used in Porridge originally. Never Say Never Again, and The Rock.
I'll Never Say Never Again doesn't count.
So really, it's a James Bond film. It's got Sean Connery in it.
Not officially.
It's the best one, some people say.
My dad likes it, but it's not my thing.
James Bond 3D : Never Say Never Again.
It's a more fun version of Thunderball, but it doesn't count.
Right, okay, dude. Yeah, I'm not. I'm sort of going into bat for it just to take the piss. I don't know.
It's the one that wasn't made by Eon. It was made.
I know that. I know the kind of but I've probably watched it in my life, but I don't know. It's that weird outlier because it went up against a Roger Moore one, didn't it? It
went up against Octopussy, yeah. And Octopussy won, but in terms of box office, but yeah.
Right, the official one won.
Yeah,
that's the story. Fake Bond, and Connery's looking just a bit haggard, isn't he? Which is understandable because he's probably quite old.
He is, but he's also got far more of a pep in his step than he did in the last two that he'd done officially for Eon. So
that's nice. That's it.
Yeah. No, he's great in it. Like he is fun, but I just think it's not a Bond film. It's anyway, it's borderline spoof territory, I think. But
right, okay.
As his diamonds are forever, though, to be fair. I don't.
But a lot of the Roger Moore stuff was kind of went up that way of doing things, didn't it? Kind of fast parody kind of.
Do you know what? Less than people think. People think.
Okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There was a lot of winky shit going on, especially towards the end of his tenure. But
and it's very easy to take that stuff out of context as well, isn't it? Like when he's in the clown suit, in the clown disguise, and like the thing with the
that's an
gondola
incredibly
and,
tense, set piece. Like he has to defuse a nuclear bomb, and he has to convince everyone around him he's serious. And it's one of those sort of like you can imagine that as a nightmare. When you're running around trying to convince everyone that there's a nuclear bomb about to go off, and no one will take you serious because you're dressed as a clown. That's the kind of stuff that nightmares are made of. So
you take it out of YouTube, take it out of context, and put it in a YouTube video, and suddenly it's kind of like, oh wow, it was all just silly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not that I'd know. I don't know. I just don't know.
The opening thing as well is it 009 who is dressed as a clown trying to escape. It's very much like a Hard Target. He's trying to escape the bad guys essentially, and he's literally on the run, and he ends up being shot in the back or whatever and falling through a plate glass window and stuff. And it's very much, but he's dressed as a clown, and it's like that sort of imagery of a clown being murdered. It's obviously has metatextual stuff about killing.
You might say this was a metaphor. Do 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 do.
Yeah.
James Bond. I'm James Bond. Hey, look. No, I think there's legitimately. I know there's good. I don't think they're bad, as I always say. I don't really watch them. But I'm sure there's plenty of good stuff in there. The Roger Moore one's the ones I always liked when I was a kid. That was my favourite. Yeah. Until Brosnan came along.
Well, I think that's the thing. It's just like I don't think you have to. People go like, oh, I like the serious ones or whatever, or I like the whatever, and it's kind of like that's the good thing. That for me is the fun thing about it. It's now spanned so many different decades, and it's got its own eras that you can enjoy whatever you want. And Roger Moore had the longest run officially because he did 7 films, and good for him.
Yeah, there you go.
Love me some Roger.
I love me some Roger. James Morgan gave us 9 English 99 on the Super Chat. Thank you, James. Hey, gents, very glad you're doing this film. My fiance and I have been reciting your guys' impression of Jason Statham and Megalodon. I can't do it as well as Duncan can, but
it's a Megalodon.
You've got to say
that's great. You did the kind of, I could imagine him sort of tipping his head as you said that.
You've got to breathe out with it and keep going out of your nose afterwards as well.
It's a Megalodon.
That's That makes me so happy. That makes me so happy. We also have. Well, could you read the next super chat then? Because I think that's just kind of.
James. Yeah, James Morgan sends 4 English Fund 99 and says we also made a drinking game out of anyone saying Meg, Megalodon, or Shark. It was a fun night.
That feels like that would get.
What, by watching this film and then
drinking to the That sounds like it would get messy pretty fucking quickly.
I've just realised I'm wearing my Squale watch, and Squale is Italian for shark.
Ah, well, there you go then. All right, there you go. Those of you, apropos of something. For those of you just joining, or those giving tonight, we are giving tonight's proceeds to the Progressive Supranuclear Palsy Association. On behalf of Omar, in memory of Omar's dad, who recently passed away. So thank you very much for your donations this evening, very kind. And we will be totting it up and passing it on to the PSPA. If you prefer, there is a link in the video description. You can go directly to the PSPA's PayPal and PayPal and donate directly to them. So thank you so much.
If you do so, let us know, won't you? Put it in the drop us a comment.
Yes, if you do let us know if you're. We can give you the shout outs. Yeah. This is the kind of Captain Nemo-y type stuff, isn't it? With all the giant creatures and things. It's cool.
Then there's the Meg, the reveal of and Meg, and baby Meg, and there we go. Isn't this where he goes?
It's a megalodon.
I had to put the subtitles on just to. Did he just say it? I didn't
think he just said it. Yeah.
It's a megalodon.
It's a megalodon.
It's the sigh. The sigh is so good. Sorry, the sigh is so good. I love. Yeah.
Well, that's what. Yeah, you've got a kind of. There's a lot of because that's something I've noticed about soap acting, and it's something I've done on soaps as well. But it's like that kind of. I don't know if it's because you're tense and you're trying to deliver your lines that way, but it is very much. You can tell when actors are sort of. I think when they deliver their lines like that, it's because they're still holding a lot in. And it's like there's a lot. I'm not saying that's what Jason Statham was doing there, but there is a tendency of a lot of actors to sort of do it. What's the
Steve McFadden does it a lot.
Steve McFadden, but there's a guy. If anyone's watched Bosch on Prime, there's a guy who plays a detective who I think he's like Hispanic, and he's always like, Bosch, what are we gonna do? He's always going, well, get up. Like it's like he's holding it all in, and he's like,
that was something
he's
you
great.
You used to do that with your Charlton Heston, didn't you?
Kind of
the release of internal pressure. The sort of the pressure valve coming
kind of. That's not kind of I don't mean it like that, but it's a kind of like, well, what are we gonna do? It's got that kind of
right
after it. It's just this expulsion of because they've sort of held their breath and now they're I don't know if that's a kind of if I'm reading too much into it. And I say it as somebody who does. I've done that. I've noticed that about myself. And I kind of try and not do that because I don't. That's not how people talk most of the time.
Well, but there's dramatic license. There's you got to add a bit of colour. As Americans say. Color. Or color, as it's pronounced here.
Sam Montgomery sent £5 in the super chat. It says, have you guys watched the Nigel Marvin chased by sea monsters doc? Freaky imagery of him in a shark cage with a Meg swimming around him. Which I think he means is around him.
Right. No, I don't know what that is. I shall give it a...
You do know a Megalodon doesn't exist.
Well, it says chased by sea monsters, so I wonder if it's one of these...
It's sort of a CG...
Like a cryptid kind of doc.
Right.
Nigel Marvin, chased by sea monsters... And also something called Sea Monsters Are Walking with Dinosaur trilogy, which is okie dokie.
Very cool. No, Sam, in answer to your question, but it does sound... pretty cool. I'm well into my shark stuff.
It's a Walking with Dinosaurs spin-off, so they'll have done a kind of a CGI.
Walking with dinosaurs.
Walking dinosaurs.
Big bastard.
I still got that. Man, we should just record that as audio, right? We were going to film that. We should. I wrote Welcome with Dinosaurs like 5 years ago now, or longer. Yeah. Multi Revelator points out Peter Falk as a sighing actor. which is his Columbo performance had a lot of.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I
size.
can see that. Yeah, I haven't watched a lot of Columbo, but that I have watched, I suppose, is kind
Columbo, is it pronounced? No, it's not. It's not. Yeah, no, I, as you know, I'm a big fan, and yeah, he did a lot of kind of sighing. A sign I've realised of my encroaching years is that sometimes, so often when I stand up or pick something up from a low point or just kind of stretch, I go, oh dear, like that. That's the sign. Oh dear. It's kind of the next one up from when you have your tea or coffee and go, and do a big sigh. It's that level of.
I find it when I sit into a sofa or something, I tend to go like.
yeah. Was it Bill Burr made this kind of quite horrifying observation about he's talking about the elderly relative that can't get out of their chair, and he's like, there's one time that guy sat down, tried to get back up to get away from his wife, and realised he could never stand up from that chair ever again. This is one time will be the last time you get up from that chair. It's a horrifying thought.
It's true. One time will be the last time you do anything.
That's true. That is true. This won't be the last time I watch The Meg. It's the best film ever made, apart from Jaws 3, 3D : the best Jaws.
Do you know what it is that has made this Brad Watson's kryptonite? Is it the Jaws reference?
He's always got. Let's have a quick.
Because
we've had no response, by the way.
Yes, no, he's not the world's most avid texter.
He's busy as well.
He is busy, yeah. So we'll let him off. But yeah, he's been so apoplectic about this that I don't. Well, again, it seems like he can't get his words out. He's just that angry.
As Wing Kong pointed out, because I assume he's referring to his distaste for Aquaman, and underwater films are the two things that I know of that have angered the Watson.
No, but Jaws is his favourite film of all time, isn't it?
Yeah, as you were saying, yeah, maybe it's the Jaws references. It's perhaps. Yeah,
that's what I think it is. I think it's the
temerity,
irreverence, or for Jaws.
Deep Blue Sea. Deep Blue Sea is the best shark film. Deepest, bluest. My hat is like a shark's fin. I can't stress that enough. Benny Legend gives £5 and says peace and love, Omar. Thank you very much, Benny. Benny, do it. Dan says Brad must hate Deep Blue Sea. In that case, that's all 4 Jaws films in one. Kind of is, yeah. It's yeah, I don't know what it is. I think there's something about, because Jaws, Jaws is like a masterclass in tension. It's like this amazing bit of filmmaking. Look, here's where she sees him with his shirt off and gets all horny, and that's
so tense.
That's romance.
That's what accounts for the
Megalodon.
He's supposed to be in the shower, but he looks like he's just been in oil. Like he's just been
he's been bathing in oil whilst pumping up.
Bathing in crisp and dry. I use canola oil. It's neither crisp nor dry. It's canola oil. Megalodon.
So just having an oil bath.
Extra virgin.
It's really great. Well, that's the thing. Do you remember the thing in the?
It's cold pressed.
Just late night infomercials for Statham recommending oil baths.
It's cold filter. Cold filters. Oily Statham.
Because
Jason, not oily Statham.
Jason, oily Statham. I'm oily. Simeon Aston says, "Oil of not the gay." That's great. That's a deep cut. That is. Yeah. Callum Chung says, and I was about to say the same thing, Callum. Of course, oily Statham in the Transporter. The scene where he kind of the not at all homoerotic scene in the Transporter, in which case lots of slippery boys have a good old slip and slide over his big greasy straight chest for straight people to like.
This is the bit where they find. Well, I guess you could just say they went on YouTube and got all these graphics or something.
Well, it's like those, those wildlife posters that the Guardian used to give away that you see in people's toilets, where it's like every type of bird. It's just like they just pulled that up on the Google search.
I mean, I'm assuming it's scientifically based, having found, because they did find evidence of a megalodon, right? It's a real thing, but it just seems to be a much bigger great white. Doesn't seem to have any discernible features other than it was just a massive great white.
You sort of want it to have 3 eyes or a horn,
a huge penis,
big hands, Like big
hands.
Big pink hands and a massive cock.
Around like that. Like
Big muscly arms and a big willy. He goes around going, flapping its willy at its prey. It's a megalodon. Just swimming like Banana Man doing that front.
Does the butterfly.
They found a megalodon skeleton with huge arms, just big skeleton arms. That's the finale for the proper Meg film. It can't catch Jason Statham in its big hands because Jason Statham's all oily.
It keeps slipping out.
It's either that or silver body paint.
Yeah. Like a sort of poor man's Goldfinger. What was I going to say? Yeah, because it's like they find they'll find a fragment of a bone somewhere and make that into a giant shark. You know, they'll know what that means just from looking at its tooth. They'll know what kind of.
If you are lucky enough to live in the Cambridge area, you can go to the
Jason Statham
toilet.
Museum.
What's the fuck? You can go to the Sedgwick Museum, named after Charles Darwin's contemporary Adam Sedgwick, where they have a iguanodon skeleton. And it's quite an interesting specimen because, describing what you've just described, they found some iguanodon bones, including its thumb, and someone went, "That's a horn. This is what that looks like." And they just kind of built a dog out of it, and just like da 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 da. And then they realised that in actual fact, it was a completely different creature that had the two kind of pointy thumbs, but they thought it stood on its back legs. So the specimen in the Sedgwick is from the 18th century, so it's basically correct, but it's standing on its back legs, which is why it's so high. I think it's a good 18 feet high, the specimen, when you go into the Sedgwick. In actual fact, it went on four legs. It's a good example of that. Like, I bless them, because they were the first people to find dinosaurs, so who am I? But they just kind of did it like a Lego set and went, "That's its nose, fuck it, bum 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 bum." And
it had 3 hours.
It's a spider baby.
And instead of hands, it's got cops, so it can attach itself to you. Instead of eyes, it's got 4 hours. It's like, all right, okay.
4 hours. As Sam actually points out, like the dinosaur statues at Crystal Palace. Exactly, Sam. That's the ones. They were the iguanodons. They've got a T-Rex skull in there. They've got a Velociraptor. That's where I wanted to film Walking with Dinosaurs. It was all based on the Sedgwick Museum, and then I emailed them going like, "Can I film in your museum?" And they just kind of went, "Yeah, so what's it for?" And I just kind of went, I thought,
walking thing.
Knowing Cambridge University as I do, I knew that was a waste of time. Just like, no fucking chance.
Yeah,
no way. They do have the little kind of the mutant dog iguanodon. They have a little pictures of it underneath the one in the Sedgwick.
Iguanodon, world's first dinosaur.
I'm laughing at my own jokes. Yes, no, I'm glad you remember that script better than I do. I've still got it in a Dropbox, ready to go.
Look at this big bastard.
I really like the idea of you in Walken cosplay just getting increasingly irate, because the joke is that Christopher Walken gets irate in the museum for no reason, and quite scary. Yeah, no, maybe one day they let me film my stupid crap there.
My stupid crap. Stupid crap for idiots.
Stupid crap. That's the Val Verde film strapline. Stupid crap for idiots. By idiots for idiots.
Watch the numbers dwindle.
Yes, indeed.
Did he just call us idiots?
Well, yeah, I course corrected by calling us idiots as well. We're all in it together. We're in it together.
Because I think I mean, I know that a bigger megalodon shows up later on, but I believe, because that's the thing, is it doesn't look that big, and I don't know if that's just because we've been spoiled by like big sharks in movies. But you kind of look at it and you go, that looks like just like a big great white, doesn't it? But I gather they've done the proportions correctly, because then when you look at it, I mean, it's like its mouth is the size of Jason. So, because that's the funny thing is, it's kind of like when you see sharks, you imagine them to be these giant monsters, and they're not. But obviously, relative to you, if they took a bite out of you, it would not end well.
Well, you know, Jaws the Revenge taught us that they roar. That's another thing.
Well, yeah.
If it pleases your fantasy, says Sam Montgomery, who's given £5 to the PSPA. If it pleases your fantasies, Megalodon being a giant great white is considered inaccurate. Recent theories point to them being completely unrelated. Yeah, because they've got giant arms and hands.
Yeah, we've been over this.
As everybody knows.
Huge, long, trailing penises.
Trailing! Flapping in the breeze. Again, the colour of... The main body is shark coloured, but their arms and penis are human flesh coloured. It's really important. Big thatch of pubes as well. It's a megalodon. What did I say? Oh, yeah. Megalodon. Freemantle85 says, I enjoy this stupid crap for idiots. Good stuff. We all do.
Good for you.
It's great, by the way. Like Ruby Rose, Cliff Curtis. You know, there's cool actors in this. Good old Ray. I love Rainn Wilson. Is great. I'm a big fan of Rainn Wilson. He's and he does this role kind of tech dickhead. He does really well, doesn't he? It's kind of, you know,
douchey tech man who thinks he can solve everything by throwing money at it, or whatever. Because doesn't he later on he hires a bunch of people to come and kill it or something?
Yeah, he hires a load of quints, doesn't he? Well, that's the idea. Right. You know, that's the concept. Get some bloody quints in.
Kids go in the water.
It's not a dreadfully long film either, is it? It's like 1 hour 50 or something. It's not like.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Sure, why not?
1 hour 50. 1 hour 50. It's
150.
Yeah, 150. Yeah, so Ben Wheatley's
because this bit's just the chase now, isn't it? They're just following it.
This is kind of this. Yeah, this is the kind of middle section of the film, isn't it? Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then the boat's called Charlotte. Quickly, poke it with a stick.
It might still be alive. Isn't this is a shark fishing boat that is destroyed, right? Because all these sharks are missing their fins.
Yeah, shark poachers.
There's a hand. Must mean a full arm. That must be.
That's a baby megalodon. Is there a big willy floating there as well? These are sharks' pubes.
He's been manscaping.
He's been manscaping. It's like wire wool. It's like a Brillo pad. That's the Japanese Brillo pad industry.
It's right. Yeah, it's like a Brillo pad.
A Brillo pad the size of a fist.
The size of a tangerine.
I'd watch my fucking Statham Kane team up.
Oh god,
I love that. Was that one?
I saw him in Tenet though, because of course he's in Tenet. And it was just like, oh god, he suddenly looked really old. You know when people get to that old where it's like you don't just look old, you've kind of like, it's like you've had a personality transplant almost. You're like, you're totally different.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh,
it's kind of like Dick Van Dyke, bless him, who's still clocking on, still got all his marbles, really sweet. But he's like, you look at him, it's like, Jesus Christ, like, man, the portrait of Dorian Gray, bless you. But you're 95. I'm not going to be 95. The lifestyle I've had, no way. Scottish, you as well. Scottish DNA, you fucked, mate. It's no chance. Not going to happen. Yeah, you know. So good on him, because what Kane's like pushing 90 now, is he? He was.
Yeah, he's got a bit. I think.
God love him. I tell you, it was quite funny. Because in Collateral, Statham does his cameo, and like people like to go, "Oh yeah, that's supposed to be the transporter." Okay, it's not. Like, firstly, I think Michael Mann takes things far, far, far too seriously to just want to do a shared universe with some Euro action flick. But also as well, I mean, it is just a cameo, but you know, Statham's done a few. Like Hummingbird is just a completely straight up, played straight movie. And I can see Statham doing the more kind of dramatic stuff. You know, I think if he did have more of a role in a Michael Mann thing, it would be very, very serious because that's how all Michael Mann things are, and that's great. You know, that is cool. Oh yeah,
he'd be Ann Cop or Ann Robber,
or both. Ann Cop that turns out to be Ann Robber, but it's actually Ann Cop. Yeah. The classic triple cross.
It's just almost like Michael Mann and the new Michael Mann films out. It's like he may as well just come out and go, "No, I don't think you get it yet."
That's what it's called. That's what the next one's called. So you're not going to get it. The movie.
The cop, the thief, and the cop.
The cop, the thief, the cop, and the guns, and also it's really serious.
Oh.
Hey, look, I really respect Michael Mann, but it's all very, very serious, and you might be stunned to learn that's not my cup of tea necessarily.
Yeah.
You know, we are the Sharks pubes, guys. Let's not make any. Sam Montgomery, £2, took a date to this movie. We haven't met since. Ivan and I did. We smuggled vodka into this movie and got drunk whilst we watched it.
It's actually never occurred to me to do that.
Oh, it's
probably because I have
best.
to drive to the bloody cinema.
That's true. Yeah, no, we did it. It's sort of like the culture of drinking on trains. There's this low-key drunk in the cinema thing. Liz, our location manager for Touchy Bleed, she used to come and do drunken cinema with me and Ivan. A few movies like that. So there you go. Bloody.
I think I remember doing that with The Dark Knight because I think I'd seen it already, but I went with someone else when we had a few pints beforehand. And that was a bad idea because it's quite a long film that, and I needed a piss in the middle.
God! Oh jeez! Yeah, no, that's always ill-advised. So it's kind of like, a couple of beers before the film. It's like I would love a couple of beers before the film, but I'm going to be pissing like Seabiscuit if I do anything even remotely like that. And do you know when you watch a film for the first time, and it's like, well, I have to piss because I'm not going to piss myself or get a kidney infection, and it's like you just have to wait. It's like, is this going to be a dialogue scene? And have I got this movie's number enough that I could just fuck off and not come back and go, what's going on?
I know it wasn't. That's not what happened. Someone phoned me in Sky. I think my agent phoned me during Skyfall, and it was the first time I'd seen it. And I was like, no. And I was like, but you have to take a call from your agent. So I had to quickly run out of the cinema and speak to them. I was like, yeah, what?
What do you want?
Can you get to an audition? Yes, whatever. Fucking send me the details. Shut up. Go away.
Motherfucker.
James Bond is on, and I haven't seen this one.
And I fucking worked on it, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. I don't want to miss my bit that didn't show up.
Well, yeah.
So,
It's what it is.
That.
Hey, man, you ought to be on set and do all the stuff. And
I did. Yeah, that's true. That was good.
Someone did point out something about Statham and De Niro. Yeah, Bo Taylor. Statham did a team with De Niro, and that's with Clive Owen in the movie. It's based on Ranulph Fiennes' what's that called? It's the SAS movie, I think. It's based on Ranulph Fiennes' memoir, I think, and I do believe that there is a general innuendo that's basically Billy Bullshit of the movie. Killer Elites. Because I believe... no, it wasn't his memoir. The story of Killer Elite was relayed to Ranulph Fiennes, and Ranulph Fiennes sent it to Burke, and people have kind of said, yeah, it's sort of horseshit. I'm not saying that. People have said that. That's a direct quote from John Horseshit.
Oh, Dominic Purcell, isn't it? He of Prison Break. Speaking of that, we watched. So there's a film on Netflix called Red Blood Sky that I saw the trailer for because Netflix won't let you not watch things when you go on there. It's just playing it already.
Yeah, that's irritating, isn't it?
Yeah, and but I actually thought when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, that looks really good. Actually, it was a really good premise and stuff. So I sort of insisted that we watch it the other night. Yeah, it was weird because it was sort of dubbed in areas and not in others.
The premise being what? What was the Well,
the premise is a hijacked plane. I don't want to spoil.
I see.
Well, it's not
okay.
a spoiler because it's in the trailer, but there's a hijacked plane basically with a mum and her son on the plane, and it's hijacked by some terrorists. But then she turns out to be a vampire.
Oh, okay.
So she
that is
starts
a good
tearing
premise.
shit up. Yeah, she basically because she's on her way to some clinic for treatment to try and stop being a vampire, basically. And she has to keep shooting up with stuff so that because of the thirst or whatever.
Look, I just let that wash over me. She's going to a clinic to get a treatment to not be a vampire.
Yeah, or whatever it is.
No, but you're right. But there's so many, like, a bunch of movies do that premise, and it's just so normalised. It's just like, yeah, of course. So the vampire.
I tell you what, it was really good. It is worth watching, but it did let itself down in certain areas, and I was like, it didn't need to do that. It really didn't need to do that. It was frustrating, but it was all right in terms of the premise and in terms of some of the stuff in it. It was quite good. So I would definitely say check it out to people, but with a certain degree of skepticism.
I think I may have seen that. I think Ivan might have said, "Hey, check this out" or something at some point. That sounds like, because it's such a wacky premise. It's like, okay, I could go for that.
It's a great premise. Yeah, it's a really great premise.
Die Hard on a plane with a vampire, basically.
It's just frustrating that the trailer sort of let you know that was going to happen, but then actually when you watch the film, it starts with her like she's totally bald, putting a wig on and stuff, and in the dark with sunglasses on, and you kind of go, well, if you don't get it from that, then
right, yeah,
you've no business.
It's tough, that, isn't it? Because people like to react to these concepts because, like, if that was a mid-film reveal, and it's just like, oh my god, but why would you go watch that if you didn't know that?
That's the problem, is that everyone goes, yeah, but we have to sell this as being unique and interesting, and it's like, and that's what's unique and interesting about it. So
because that switcheroo into a vampire kind of action Die Hard halfway through, like, oh my god, did you see this thing? Well, I can't tell you why you need to watch it, but you should watch it. But that is no marketing strategy, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, frustratingly, I just don't think that's possible anymore. So we've said a lot about, especially in regards to the Terminator movies, like for some reason, and they're all shit, but they've all spoiled the whole premise out the gate with the trailers.
Yeah, and they're sequels, so it shouldn't, it shouldn't be an issue. Like, because the second one spoiled the premise. You watch the movie and it sets up that you don't necessarily, you're made to. We know Arnold is the bad guy. You don't necessarily know up to a point what's going to happen. And then, but it didn't matter because the trailers were, he's back and he's cuddly now and there's toys of him and play the video game and here's the mug and the t-shirt and here's a tie-in single. And it's like, that's a lot to tell me. You could have just said Terminator 2's coming out.
And that film, I mean, the thing with that film is it's obviously, it's structured in a way that you're supposed to not know, right? You're supposed to kind of be questioning it right up until the moment when it's revealed to you. But, which I think then ties its hands behind its back in other ways, because obviously, I've said this before, but kind of T-1000 having to turn up naked to still keep up the pretense, and it's like, well, you're doing that in service of
who's that for? Like,
who's that? Yeah, because you that shouldn't happen. But
I mean, it could come through time as a fucking blob for all Skynet guys.
Yeah,
it's exactly. A fucking lump of mercury, but
yeah, but it's kind of, it is a thing that that does seem to happen a lot more now, but I do get why, because it's kind of, you have to sell. You're selling, if you're making a concept film, you've got to sell the concept, right? You can't.
Yeah. That's
what else can you do?
You need the single line pitch, don't you?
Even though people lament it, and everyone says like, "Oh, I'm not watching the trailers," or "I'm going to wait to see it," or all that sort of stuff, and you go, "Yeah," but I mean, I know that like with things like Bond movies and stuff, I don't see why. And I think they have been relatively. I mean, obviously they've had to keep releasing new footage for it, but it's like, I think they've generally been quite good at keeping it under wraps, because you kind of go, well, yeah, everyone's going to go and see this anyway, aren't they? Stuff like that. But,
yeah, right. It's kind of a lock, and it's not like they're flinging those out like crazy. I don't think people. It's probably more thirst for Bond than ever, because there's been such a drought of it with COVID and everything. It's
yeah.
Every now and then there's something that you haven't heard of that your mate shows you and just goes, look, just watch this. Or when you're bored, there's something just sat on Netflix with a shit one-line description you watch, and it turns out to be nuts, and it has this crazy thing. And it's nice when that. I think it's the joy of film festivals as well. Like, stuff that you'll probably never watch again quite often in the film festival sense, and you'll just watch the craziest stuff that you're not primed for at all. So like, they used to have a thing on Channel 4 in the early 2000s, in the late 90s. There was a thing called the Shooting Gallery, which I think was on Thursday nights, which was curated short films every week of any genre. So there'd be horror ones, there'd be dramas, there'd be kind of surrealist stuff, and I used to tape them and watch them back and stuff, because it was around the time I was doing film in school and stuff, and it was just like, some of them were nuts. It's like, I've never heard of this, don't know any of the actors in it, I've got no reason to suspect anything, and it would just have this insane twist, or do something like I didn't expect, or just show me something I hadn't seen before, because there's no burden of marketing or anything like that on those, which is
Yeah, and I think there's going to be a thirst for that. I think that people are sort of. There's a big shake-up, I think, coming, whether it's natural or whether it's because of COVID or whatever, But I do think there is a big shake-up in how people consume film, and I think there's whether people can articulate it or not, there's a thirst for the mid-budget film.
Yeah.
There's a thirst for stuff that isn't stupidly high. Loads of money spent on it, lots of because that just comes with too little risk taking. It comes with too little sort of intrigue and the need to impress with story and characters and that kind of thing.
Well, if you embark upon a project with the expectation that it's going to make $1 billion, you're going to have a bad time. You know what I mean? Like, and particularly if you're going to do that if you've bought the rights to some random comic or something or TV show and you're going to do that and expect $1 billion, and immediately you start going like, well, I'm going to start cutting things out of this and changing it around because that won't work for a mass audience. It's like, well, you're not going to please a mass audience because it's based on a weird comic, and you're not going to please the fans of the weird comic because you've tried to mold it to a mass audience. You please no one, and you make no money.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I've said this about James Bond, but it's true of a lot of other things as well. But it's like that's become a $1 billion franchise because you made $1 billion with Skyfall, and now it has to keep that pretense up. So now you have to hire back all the they've become sort of high end, high art pieces. And now you've got to keep that up. And it's not just the fact that you've got to keep, but you have to also, because of all the way things are funded, where you do licensing deals, you do all sorts of stuff. It's like that's all based on your stock or your, what would you call it? Your kind of, your stock value essentially being $1 billion franchise. And so you have to keep that up. You have to keep the sort of, even if it's just the pretense of it, you have to keep that up in order to keep making movies, keep making those movies. And so, you kind of get hamstrung by your own success. And I think that's the problem as well with lots of other stuff. It's like Batman versus Superman can't just be a sort of, I don't know, $120 million superhero blockbuster. It's got to be a fucking $300 million juggonaut that does exactly what you just said, pleases no one because it tries to be all things
and
to
you
everyone.
Don't need that money to make look at the Superman stuff they're doing on TV at the moment. Like, you don't need $300 million to make a Superman film. I'm sorry. Like, the way technology is at the moment, you could do a good Superman movie for $50 million. Like, you don't have to have him meeting Darkseid and punching the Earth in half, or whatever.
Again, like, arguably, you can you can do all those things, but I mean, arguably, when you look at those films, it's like they're all shot on green screen. It's all After Effects, and all the things that would cost money, i.e., having a crane on location with wires to fly someone in and out and shutting down streets in cities and all that kind of thing, they don't do. So you kind of go, where's that money?
Coked cane! Delicious coked cane. Yeah, well, so much of it goes into, it's like if the stated budget goes into marketing and all that crap. And it's just sort of like, it feels like the business of making movies isn't really the business of making movies anymore. They're really, the kind of terminology you hear that makes you want to sort of puke a little is like, oh, we're making a multimedia experience or a cross-platform experience. It's like, oh really? I thought you were making a fucking movie. Like, I'm here to watch a fucking movie. I'm not going to play the AR game or drink the soda or do the puzzle. Like, I'm here to watch the fucking film.
That has died off though. I will say that tie-in video games.
That kind of that's true. You are right. That's funny because that still existed at the birth of Marvel, and they were trying to do that with Marvel, and it kind of ended. So I think you got up to like a Captain America game, which people quite like, the Captain America game, but I think that's where they cut, because they had those dreadful Iron Man games made by Sega as well. And it's,
because you just couldn't keep up with the release though, I think, especially with Marvel, but even with the others, it's like trying to keep up with the video game for every single one of the...
Because they shit-canned the Dark Knight game. That was going to happen, and it got shit-canned, and then, Dark Knight Rises didn't have one at all, and it was such a common thing. And every now and then you'd get a GoldenEye, but most of the time you'd get a Last Action Hero or a whatever shit tie-in game.
Yeah.
Doesn't this actually get him though? The whole Get Closer thing.
Is it there's a big one? The big one under the water or something. Is it? Which is a joke thing from a Megalodon, one of the shit Megalodon films, isn't it? Where it's really cheesy and some people fall off a boat into a badly into a shark's mouth.
Right.
I think, and I don't know if that's what they're referencing here, because I think that's what happens, isn't it?
It comes up and gets him now, right?
Yeah.
Oh, such a Meg. Look at him next to the Meg.
I don't take this seriously. That's a Megalodon.
I do wonder what the kind of... Hey, I'm glad they did it, but I can't imagine anyone seeing this novel and going get Statham on the line. Where's Jason? We need him.
I just briefly, before we came online, I was like, I know nothing about this, so I just quickly put making of the Meg into YouTube, expecting the usual shit, which is what I got. But it was was it John Turteltaub or whatever directed it, and what's his name, the producer, thingy, is it not Dino De Laurentiis? Is it Dino De Laurentiis? Whoever produced it, anyway. Basically kind of talking about, like, they were like, we wanted Jason because, you know, he brings such humanity to all his roles, and it's like,
hey, look, I'm not saying that isn't true, but it's Jason.
No.
Come on, man.
I don't believe that they believe that.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely
what I mean?
not. Like, we're sort of like, well, I don't want to, you know. Look, I'm not saying my point is, I'm not saying he can't do that, but you're not hiring Jason Statham for that. Come on, you know what I mean? Like Paul Feig putting him in Spy. Like, that's someone perhaps seeing something that the rest of it hasn't seen. Going, oh yeah, what do you know what the Meg needs? Humanity. About the potato fighting the giant shark. Yeah, it needs more humanity. Absolutely. Yeah, totally. It's only when you got a few Chinese flags lying around. Come on, get them up. We've got to make this film about humanity. Fuck off.
It's just a bit like, you know, like, I mean, fine, but like, you don't have to pretend, like, you know, because when you hear stuff like that, you go, that is corporate speak.
Absolute
I mean, I'm not being funny, but that
shit.
is...
Absolute shit. And the thing is, the goodwill behind this was it looked kind of silly. The general public's response to this was like, "Fucking Jason with a shark film. I'm done. Sold." You don't have to pretend it's The Pianist, like, for fuck's sake. Like, don't piss up, as my old man and Judge Judy would say, don't piss up my back and tell me it's raining. Like, you know, that's frustrating because you don't have to do that for this. You know what I mean? You don't.
No, I know. It's like, you've really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I really go to the Meg for commentary on the human condition.
Because the thing is, well, like, I mean, like, obviously Jaws is considered very scary and horror-like. I mean, I don't think it is a horror film, to be honest, but I mean, I guess it is.
It shares more with it shares more with like a Hitchcock thing. I think it's a kind of tension. It's a thriller, isn't it? It's a kind of tension.
Yeah, I
piece.
think so.
So I think it's scary first time, perhaps a bit younger, or whatever, and it's menacing. It has a kind of atmosphere, but it's mostly, you know,
it's ominous, but I wouldn't call it. Yeah. But whereas something like this is, again, it uses all the tricks of Jaws, but in this sort of really silly, you know, I get it's all in daylight for one thing, but I mean, it's all kind of, it's glossy, and I guess because it's just absurd. I mean, it's not absurd in that obviously the megalodon was a real thing, but it's kind of like they're just, and I think quite rightly it's chosen to be just, it just leans into the kind of, this is technology that doesn't exist, and whatever, and, you know, I
do prefer Deep Blue Sea as my silly shark film. I get so much mileage out of Deep Blue Sea, because this is great, but it's kind of, you know, I think Deep Blue Sea has the rewatchable kind of thing to it.
That's a Jaws homage, isn't it? With it grabbing him underwater that way. That's one. That shot is really great. Yeah.
Like Jaws, but the shark's massive. That one guy looks like he's got a Deliveroo jacket on, and I would know because I have one.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are more than I noticed, but I do see that the sort of the Jaws homages and stuff start coming thick and fast in there.
Oh, well, Sam Montgomery says, I've seen the Megalodon film Dunk's on about. It was on YouTube for free. Shark Attack 3 Megalodon. They just splice people in falling into the cliff of... Oh, they splice people falling onto a cliff of a great white to make it seem big. Okay.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's like it's two people got married or something on it's like a bride and groom, I think.
Amazing.
And they just fall in, like, they just go like into a shot.
Nah.
It's like, why even bother? Like, there's got no menace or anything. It's shit.
Those fucking things, man. This is their check, because that's what, you know, that's what kind of with your Sharknadoes and stuff and all those, they're deliberately bad movies. They're manufactured bad movies. You know, they're you know, they're designed, and then they put 80s, they put 80s pop stars in them and stuff to make it. Ironically enough, because the whole point of the true bad movies was to trick you into buying them, so you thought they were the legit one. And now the fake bad movies trick you into buying them because you think it's a bad movie. So it's like, oh, why has it got Debbie Gibson in it? Ha ha ha! And then it's like,
pay for Tara Reid's plastic
surgery. Oh, I don't know. She hasn't had plastic surgery, man. What are you talking about?
That, or she's got an inflammatory condition because she needs to get her thyroid looked at. If not,
I just thought she was a haunted doll. But oh, crumbs. See, Duncan will be delighted to hear that the diving suits look slightly like Star Trek The Next Generation uniforms. Right, Duncan, you're very excited to hear. And they're the right colours as well.
I think great. That's fantastic.
It's just true.
Yeah,
It's true. It's literally Spider yawn.
Sorry. Yeah,
I caught it through the internet.
Sorry. It's catching. Yeah, you need to self-isolate now for at least 7 to 8 hours.
10 years.
Or 10 years.
I'm going to go over there and grab my water. Tell me if any more megalodons happen.
I will. I'm going to count them now. One. They always do this in films. Obviously, the dorsal fin is cinematic shorthand for shark, right? And a literal shorthand, I suppose, because that does happen. But it's very rare. They don't really show the tail. And the tail sort of sticks up just as much as the dorsal fin. You would think that you'd have to show that as well. But I mean, for the longest time, when all the Jaws films and everything like that, it's all it was the dorsal fin just going around, which became synonymous with these sorts of things, which I guess is fine, I suppose. But there we go. Yeah, Yawn of the Dead, says Joseph. Very good. Yeah. John Barrowman is in one of those cheap shark movies, says Dan Lyles. Artist extraordinaire, Dan Lyles. That doesn't surprise me. John Barrowman being in one of those. He is the sort of cabaret Tom Cruise, isn't he? Really, I think. And what's wrong with that? Nothing wrong with that at all. Good for him. Good for him. No. What else to say about the Megalodon? Yeah. I mean, I'll try and remember when they cover like the kind of Jaws references, but there's quite a few, and I'm probably not going to. I don't think I picked up on all of them, but I know there's what, because there's a dog in the water at one point, which is kind of, I guess that's kind of referencing. Didn't that happen in Deep Blue Sea? Maybe that happened in Deep Blue Sea. Oh, he's back. Wincog Exchange says I've been filibustering. I suppose I have.
How was your filibuster?
It wasn't to stop you being able to get your point across at all. But yeah, there you go. No, I was just saying about the Jaws references and stuff in this, and trying to kind of remember which ones are there.
That probably is what drives Brad to a kind of homicidal rage. I would have thought.
Yeah. Does it come up and eat that helicopter at some point? It must do, surely.
I think it does.
It just doesn't look that big. Like, do you know what I mean? When they show it in the water, I mean, I'm sure there's no bloody shark on Earth that is that big, but it sort of doesn't look.
It does help when you see it eat the smaller one. It does kind of help, but
I suppose.
Champagne 78 says the dog has the same name as the Jaws dog. The Jaws dog, famously called Jaws 3 3D : the best Jaws, which is the name of it's the name of the dog in the first Jaws, which is quite prescient.
Ruffles.
Dogwood, the best dog name.
What's the dog called in Jaws? I don't know what it's called. We're talking about John Barrowman, and I called him a cabaret Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yes. Yeah. The kind of Tom Cruise you'd see on a cruise ship, ironically. Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus, which I believe, I'm pretty sure Mega Shark Giant Octopus has the line. He says something at the end of the movie along the lines of "Let me take you home and eat your pussy" or something. Is what he says to his love interest after. Yeah, it's a classy movie. Yeah. It's yeah.
Right.
I'm going to check that. John Barrowman, eat your pussy. Shark Attack 3 Megalodon. Yes, the line is, how about I take you home and eat your pussy?
Wow.
I'm really wired.
I mean,
what do you say I take you home and eat your pussy?
Knowing callback in the film that has some kind of deep contextual meaning, but I'm sure it doesn't.
Everybody's just going, oh no. Yes, exactly. Man, look, we make movies. Anybody questions anything you ever say, just say it's a metaphor, and if they press you on it, just tell them that they're stupid. This is fine.
Gaslight them and run away.
Yes, just gaslight them about you being an artist and like it's a metaphor. Call them a philistine and a cretin. That's it's impossible for me to do anything wrong or badly because it was a metaphor.
Yeah.
Or the famous Tommy Wiseau approach is that you wait till it comes out and everyone laughs at it and then pretend it was supposed to be a comedy all along. So,
Okay.
Yeah,
that does seem to be. Well, again, I struggle with it. When people say to me like, "Oh, have you seen The Room?" And I go, "No." Because I don't want to waste 2 hours of my life, do I? Why would I sit? It's notoriously about saying there was Samurai Cop and all that shit.
That's because you're wrong. So I do look, as you know, I do agree. I disagree with you on this fundamentally. I think there's immense value in bad movies, and I think you have to watch the right ones, because if you just watch any old shit, they can be horrendously boring. The right bad movies have the capacity to be really very funny, but also a good bad movie. And I think the good thing about The Room is it's a man accidentally telling you far too much about his psyche and personal life and personal history without meaning to. So like, I get like, and Samurai Cop's different, because Samurai Cop is just so thunderously incompetent, like it has to be seen to be believed, for example. So it's like the lead actor went off, didn't want anything more to do with the film, and cut his hair. So they got him a wig to do reshoots, but it was literally, he had long brown hair, so they literally got a random brown lady's wig from a hairdresser. So there are bits where it cuts to him with his normal hair and then cuts to another shot and he's wearing, it's things like that, But I know it's not what you go for, but that, that's something that Duncan and I have talked about endlessly, differing opinions on deliberately doing bad things. Troll 2, the Wing Kong Exchange gives. Oh, no, you don't.
No,
you have more sultry tones than I.
Oh, not really. Well,
you do.
Well, I did have I did spend Monday
literally doing voiceover this week. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that was quite fun actually. I might. Yeah. Anyway, I can't really. Well, I suppose I can't really speak about that too much, but anyway. But it was fun because I had to basically match a one-take shot of an actor, and but the part of it, you could see I had to match lip sync him, and then the rest of it I could do to his gestures because it was behind him. Right. So he kind of played with that. Anyway, it was fun. I like doing stuff like that. Anyway, Wing Kong Exchange says £5 says, did you see Peter Benchley's The Beast, which was on ITV in the 90s? And has anyone played Man-Eater, where you play as a killer shark? Tempted to buy it.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, I've heard about Man-Eater, the Euro Shark game. Sounds like fun.
Not the game version of Nelly Furtado's Man-Eater.
Oh, or Hall and Oates.
Or indeed Hall and Oates. It's Ken Bruce with Hall and Oates.
Oh God!
Make it work. No. Although I played An Shark game a while ago that was sort of on my phone, and I kind of fiddled about with it.
There was a licensed Jaws game.
There wasn't
there?
But it was, again, just you swimming around eating things. I think whenever they've done stuff like that, they've gone, we can't possibly make it about the people, because that's just men on a boat.
Oh, don't you worry. They did that on Atari and Amiga, and it was fucking dreadful. It was very much that, and it was like, yeah, this sucks.
But even with modern technology, what would it be? Like, sail out to the sea and wait?
Yeah, this is, I think, this is genres and games, isn't it? And it's the back and forth we talked about before, but it's like, it's sort of like, I think in the right hands, someone could make a game of 12 Angry Men. Be like, why are you doing this? Like, what? Like, you could totally do it, and then you got to question whether or not, because the things that are like interactive novels, or like Eric, like interactive film or something, and it's kind of like, but if that's an adaptation of a film, just watch the film. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's the weird thing, and it's sort of an avenue that we're going into, and that I feel very. I mean, I like that I'm doing early versions of this kind of stuff, but it is a bit like, I don't know how you would do an interactive version of a franchise movie.
And someone inevitably fucking will. That's the.
Well, you see it coming. Given that all the streaming services are buying up, or like Amazon's bought MGM, for example, and that kind of stuff, and. Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to wonder, don't you, if that's just the next stage.
Yeah, I like, I don't know, and maybe because like Black Mirror did it very well, Kimmy Schmidt did it very well but those were not on gaming platforms; they weren't really games, but they're playing in that pool, so I don't know. I mean, I would, it's funny that the kind of play as a shark eating people genre is something that comes back. And it's a bit like, did you ever play that? Well, the Rock movie Rampage is based on the old arcade game Rampage. Did you ever play that, where you play as the monsters?
No, I saw the film.
Right,
I think
because that's like a late 70s arcade game. It's not, they based it on an old ass game, But it's a really good game, and that's play as the bad guys game done well. You have to run around eating people out of the buildings and smashing the buildings up and stuff. And making a film of it was kind of nonsensical, but it's like, okay. And that wasn't dreadful, but it's like, why are we doing this? So I get it. Oh, Jaws Unleashed, says Sam. It was a PS2 game that follows Brody's son trying to kill the shark, and you're the shark. There's a section where you're in SeaWorld and you fight an orca. Outstanding. A tie-in game to Blackfish, the documentary about SeaWorld. So I kind of get that.
Is this a bit? Yeah, because he's blown up a whale, isn't he? Or something.
Got the wrong one.
Yeah.
You stupid Rainn Wilson with your boat full of quints. Yeah, he's great. He did Rainn Wilson did a very good turn in rubbish modern Star Trek as Harry Mudd. He was really, really good because he's just great. Rainn Wilson is. I've got so much time for Rainn Wilson. I think he's such a fun, and he's done a couple of straight roles that he's done. Just stepped right into, no problem at all.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm trying to think what else I've seen him in. I must have seen him in something else. But yeah,
he's done a fair bit. I guess the big one really is obviously he was the American version of Gareth, wasn't he, in the American Office?
I never saw that.
It's supposed to be. Well, I've watched some bits of it. It's it's quite good. It's a completely different show to the British one. Like once they run out of British material, it just becomes a completely different thing. And there ain't nothing wrong with that, Yeah. I mean, it would have to because there's no fucking material left. So there you go. Don't really have much choice in that matter, do you? However, the American Office is one of these things that people really go on about. quite
it shows up in GIFs a lot when I'm trying to look for a funny GIF. There's always stuff from the American Office, and I'm like, I don't know. It wasn't something I got into. Like, it was the kind of humor I really bristled against when I was younger. Because when it came out, I was a teenager or whatever, and I was kind of
the original Office.
Yeah. All that kind of shit. Yeah. I just was like, no.
You didn't like Partridge the first time out, did you either?
No, I didn't. I did. Well, no, I didn't. I don't. Also, but I think that was on me. Really, I didn't really get it, and I'm sure that's true of The Office as well. I think I was of an age where I didn't. I
loved The Office at the time.
Office.
Yeah, I didn't. I really loved it at the time. I'm not as sweet on it as I used to be. I mean, it's very well observed. I think it's a very good version of having a shit job.
Right.
But yeah, there's a lot of is it? Hey, ooh, is it? Ooh, kind of, and it's like okay,
that's.
All right. Thanks for that. Yeah, it's so.
Yeah. I can't get on board
Miss
with
HEC 381911 says, I haven't watched either version of The Office. I get it, but I just don't find it funny. How could you know either of those things if you haven't watched it? It's quite a pressing question.
One of those things is not like the other one.
We know what you mean, but it's going to be a pedant.
No, it's not a bit. Yeah, it doesn't appeal. And I don't say that because I dislike Ricky Gervais or anything like that. I really enjoyed Afterlife, both seasons. I thought it was really great.
Wincom Exchange says Life's Too Short was great. You were in Life's Too Short, weren't you?
I did an episode of Life's Too Short. Yeah, I did I think it was a Red Nose special, with because it had Keith Chegwin in it.
Okay. Oh, was that the thing? That was the stuff where Chegwin, Sean Williamson, and the other one do their own little thing, isn't it? Because you remember, like in Life's Too Short, he was their agent and he put them together as a trio, but then they kind of sack him off. Remember? Yeah. Was that?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really watched all of it, but I mean, that was
right.
That was the episode anyway. But
there you go. Cheggers, Barry, and Les Dennis, says Wincom Exchange. That's it. It's Les Dennis. Cheggers, Barry.
It was funny though, but they were honestly, like, I know you're not a fan of him, but I used to hate Ricky Gervais because I used to think he was an obnoxious, loutish twat, and then I was on set with him for a day or whatever, and he was the loveliest dude and funny as fuck as well.
Well,
actually, person
to go into bat for that, because I don't like him. I think he's kind of got a bit of a nasty messiah complex and shit. But that's for me to say. I really didn't used to like Jimmy Carr till he repeatedly frequented the hotel I worked in, and he was just clearly a very humane, lovely man. And treat all the staff brilliantly and stuff, which is more than you can say for just a bunch of random members of the public.
Quite exactly. Yeah, that's often you're spot on there. Yeah, and I say that. I mean, like, Ricky Gervais was just nice to everyone. He spoke to everyone. He had time for everyone.
You can't really argue with that, can you?
No, Stephen Marchant didn't.
Oh, really?
But he did. Yeah. Not that again. there's not to judge people on like a day of being around them, because it's like you just don't know what's going on. They might be really busy. There might be shit going on. You can't. I really don't like doing that, because people often say to me, "Oh, what's so and so like?" And you're like, "It doesn't."
Yeah, I've only met him at work when there was something really under a lot of pressure, so it's not really kind of like he was a cunt.
He probably beats his wife.
I've gone to the papers. Random actor beats wife.
Yeah, a credible source.
A credible source, by which I mean me, and not a credible source, an incredible source.
Yeah.
I forgot about the wee Doug. The Doug.
Pippin, isn't it? Pippin's the dog's name, and that's the dog from.
That's the Jaws.
Is
right.
It?
Okay. Look at the little wee Doug paddling its legs with the pink bow in its hair. The megalodon. Wouldn't want to eat that. It's tiny. Oh, you silly wedding party! You're going to get munched up by a megalodon.
Again, is that a sort of homage to the Shark Attack 3 Megalodon thing? Because there's a wedding party on a boat.
Oh, I suppose so. Yeah, that's a very good shout. I first understood, this is from Asparagus Video. Hey man, how you doing? $5 going to the PSPA. I first understood movies could be bad in 1997 when I watched Speed 2 and Spawn. What movies taught you this? What's the first blockbuster, I guess, where you just kind of went, oh god, like what?
That's a really good question.
It's a great question, isn't it? I'm trying to think.
Because it rings true, entirely rings true, and I'm struggling to.
Yeah, what's the one? And being of a similar vintage to us, I think, has put that in our era, isn't it? Of kind of like, oh, okay, what was?
Yes. Had I been old enough to see Speed in the cinema, and then a film I really love, and then I've never really seen Speed 2 soup to nuts. I've seen bits of it.
Because why would you want to, right? Like that's the...
Yeah, and I sort of saw the last 2/3 of it, I guess, kind of casually, while not really paying attention. It looked terrible, but it is. I could see why that would be the one. It would probably be. I mean, a recent example would be something like, I think, The Dark Knight Rises. That was one of those things where that was such an unassailable property, and you kind of went, this can't be bad, there's no way. And I remember going to the cinema and coming out and going, that was the greatest thing in the world ever. And then you sort of sit there and the post-mortem just sort of reveals all the ugly, like, the truth is it wasn't,
right?
And you know what I mean. But I'm trying to think of the first time that probably happened to me. I don't know.
The chat has just given me a few of mine, but I feel they're like a bit late. Godzilla 98, saw that in the cinema. Oh god, Armageddon I saw in the cinema. It was just like, okay. Let me see. What else did I see knocking around here? I saw one up there. Yeah.
I think it's particularly acute when you're talking about sequels to stuff that was brilliant,
Right. Well, so Simeon Aston says The Phantom Menace. That's one. I saw this in 1999. I saw Wild Wild West in the cinema. But I'd already survived Godzilla 98 and stuff, and Armageddon, I suppose. But Wild Wild West, because Men in Black was so good, and it was just like, oh, cool, and then it was like, ugh, what is this?
I'm trying to think what. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think. There's loads of examples, aren't there? But I'm trying to think what the first one would have been where I went and had it dawned on me that it was a piece of shit.
No, I think there's a certain age where you just more or less accept anything very undiscerningly, and just be like, oh yeah, fine. I saw I don't know if I think about this a lot, because I don't know if I was just kind of immature at the time, but like I said before, me and my mate Lee used to go see something every Saturday with paper round money. We saw The Siege with Bruce Willis and Denzel Washington and Tony Shalhoub.
Oh yeah. I quite like that.
Well, I watched it when I was 14 or something. Yeah. Fucking boring shit. And it's like, was I just 14? Because it's about some quite heavy stuff, isn't it? And
there's a couple of sort of action beats in it where the bus explodes, and when Denzel Washington does a tuck and roll through a door and shoots someone. But apart from that, there's very little actually. It's more a discussion on torture and coercion and terrorism, isn't it?
Yeah.
But good film, I think.
Because it's Bruce Willis in a kind of villain turn, isn't it? I feel.
Yeah, it's a small villain. He's not.
Yeah, and in as much, it's hard to say hero and villain in something that's quite heavy like that. It's just be kind of like, it doesn't have Skeletor in it. Speaking of which, Master of the Universe has come up a few times. I would say definitely, because Asparagus' question was about cinema. Definitely on video. tons of stuff just being like, what the fuck? Like I remember like when RoboCop 3 finally came out, which is kind of like, oh my god, what was that? And like definitely Masters of the, like that's one that I didn't even like as a kid. Like when He-Man was huge, and like my mum or somebody rented the live action Master of the Universe. It's just like, what is this? Like, what the fuck? I've never liked that fucking movie.
Well, we had someone, shall we say, shall remain obviously nameless, who loved the shit out of that and could not understand why you and I insisted that we watch that together. We both just sat there going, "This is fucking terrible."
Dude, and, it doesn't even have the excuse of being aimed at children. Because it's this horribly cynical film that Cannon butchered whilst they were making it. It's the most horror. It's not even as if there's something behind it. People, as Mark Garside says, I'll always stick up for Master of the Universe. Unironically love it. Bunch of people really love it. I've never got it. I've never got it. Superman 4 says Carl Goddard. That's a good shout.
I used to love that as a kid, though. I used to love Superman 4 when I was a kid.
I never watched that. Was when I watched the list because my mum used to. My mum knew a guaranteed way to shut us up would be and Superman film. So she'd go rent, and because those older movies, you could go rent and Superman film, I guess, for £1, and I think we stuck with 3 mostly.
See, that was the one I think I saw the least when I was growing up. I think I saw 1 the most, 2 and 4, but 3 was always the one I missed. And then obviously, as I've got into older life, I've realised what I was missing out on because it is the best. Right,
yeah, it's the best one. We got a very angry comment. We got called morons the other day by someone who flew into the comments over Superman. It's like, dude, you're morons for not liking this film. And it's like, I never said I didn't like it. I'm just kind of referring to Superman 1. I'm kind of tepid on it. I don't hate it or anything. You don't get to call me a moron because I disagree with you about a 40-year-old film for children. Like, get the fuck out of here. It's kind of. Someone said Street Fighter the movie. I remember that. I've grown to like that a bit because I think it's got nice kind of wry Stephen E. D'Souza humour in it, and I think like Raul Julia is amazing in it, regardless of what anyone says. Like,
but I remember having to watch that again for something else, and found it insufferable.
Fair enough. I'll tell you this much, mate. It's not very long. That's the
the small mercies.
Oh, wait, hold on. Oh yeah, I never really understood.
Neither is life, though.
No, indeed.
So let's not waste it on shit. Said watching the Meg and saying bum on the internet.
So the stream that birthed shark pubes. Yes, no. Mortal Kombat was another one that people seemed to really like when it came out because it quite, to be fair, quite strongly resembled the game. But like I just watched it, just like, why? Like, what is this? Like really, it's like the game had people's heads getting pulled off. This doesn't. This is kind of tame crap. Sorry. Also, it's Enter the Dragon, but not as good. Winkle Exchange gives £5. That's going to the PSPA this evening. Remember the old video clubs you subscribed to? I remember waiting to join just to get RoboCop 3 and Beverly Hills Cop 3. Whoa, what a pair of trilogy finishers right there.
Well, because we always used to, as well, I remember when it was just like, there's another one coming out, you'd be like, yes, can't wait. It's like you had no sort of sense that...
No, you wouldn't be like reading about it on the internet, watching shit on YouTube. RoboCop 3 in particular got shelved for ages, and it was delayed by 2 years before it came out here, so it took ages to watch. And then it was like putting it on and just and you had to watch it at home, and suddenly it was so toned down. It was just like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is this? Like, actually, what actually weird, is it though? Actually,
it's not though, is it? No. There is a sort of I mean, I'm trying to think of other examples of that. I mean, I do think the Dark Knight trilogy is a good one. Actually, Spider-Man as well. Spider-Man and the Dark Knight trilogy are great, more modern examples of that kind of thing because they were both they both had the same director writing team pretty much through the whole thing, and you still can't get consistency of quality really through all of them.
And they're both things where those creative teams didn't really want to do another one, but they kind of the wheels were in motion, right?
Yeah, so you have to sort of wonder if that's what it is. But no, that was a solid question to which we gave a long rambling answer. But there we are.
I'm just gonna. We've got a super chat from Colin McLean, $10 dues. Oops, pretty sure I missed the movie. Just checking in now. I've been neglecting my Val Verde duty lately, but Red October, checking in, comrades, and little something for my trouble, had family commitments. No worries, Colin. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very generous of you. And Sam Montgomery is here to make everybody feel very old indeed. Breathe in, everyone. Get ready for this. I used to love the Star Wars prequels when I was a little kid, and then I saw the Plinkett reviews when I was 10 and was like, oh, how embarrassing. It's 10 when the Plinkett reviews come out, man. Sam's like in college and stuff, so it's like, I know you're a young.
And that was probably like 10 years ago,
yes,
wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah.
So Sam will be 20 now.
Yeah.
So if that doesn't make you feel ancient, I don't know.
My knees hurt, and I remember when Shrek came out. That's what I got, man. Don't know what to tell you, sunshine. Good for you, lad. You know.
Yeah.
Good for you. But yeah, I think there's people reeling from that in the comments. Just like, oh my God. Oh, Jesus. Jesus.
Jesus.
Oh, Carl Goddard, Tim Burton version of Planet of the Apes. Yeah, that's a shocker of a movie. That is
a shocker, yeah.
Dreadful fucking film.
It's just when you get into these things and it's like, you realise there's always a moment, isn't there, in the film where you go, no.
Yeah.
You just go like, you blew it, didn't you?
This ain't it, is it? Oh, Champagne 78 just gives 10 euro.
Euros.
Yeah, no comment. Thank you very much. That's going to the PSPA this evening. Simeon Aston says, I have pants older than Sam. There are things within arm's reach of me that are older than Sam. Mostly because I'm next to a bookshelf, so that's a cheat, really. That's a cheat. Is there actually a good standalone trilogy that holds up, says Brian Shields. Spider-Man and Star Wars can't be used as there's millions of them films, and there isn't a good Spider-Man trilogy that holds up. There are 2 films.
No. Well, there's only one Spider-Man trilogy, really, isn't there? But
yes, and well, there's about to be another one, isn't there?
Are they doing another?
Yeah, they're doing the because all the crazy multiverse stuff's coming in that and Doctor Strange. It would appear. I don't know, certain things. The Tim Burton, that's a really good example. I didn't see that in the cinema, which I'm thoroughly glad of.
I've only seen bits of that. He's bored the arse off.
X-Men 3 was just like, whoa, jeez, like, what is this? Like, what are you doing?
That's true. That was one. Because Brett Ratner did it, didn't he?
Yeah, I never watched. I've never seen the entirety of X-Men Origins Wolverine, but people seem to say similar things about that.
Oh, that's terrible, really. Yeah. Again, I don't think they've made a good Wolverine film. I know that the Wolverine and Logan.
I liked Logan.
Was fine.
I liked Logan. I haven't watched it again,
fine.
But I liked it.
Yeah, I've tried to and kind of gone.
No, thank you.
But it's fine. It's fine. Logan is fine, and it is great. It isn't the Citizen Kane of comic book movies, which is the lazy analogy everyone loves to throw out.
That's far too much. That's much too much. Carl Goddard goes in with Back to the Future. That's a very solid trilogy of films.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I shan't argue.
The third one did get a lot of grief for a while, didn't it? But I really like.
I love Back to the Future 3, and people. I think there are a lot of people who really go in against it, and I don't know why. I think it's bloody great. It's a great movie.
Yeah, I mean, as I've gotten older, I think it's probably better than the second one, actually. The second one's great.
I like the third one more. The second one, I really like the second one, but it feels a bit. It's a bit messy. The third one's got
that's
like
the thing. People love
story.
The second one because it jumps back and forth and goes back into the first film and all that kind of thing. Whereas the third one, I guess, is a bit more boring in the fact that it's more linear.
Self-contained. I think that's its strength, isn't it? It's the but people don't like that. But yeah, it's a self-contained. I do like Back to the Future 2. I do love how it swings for the fences. It just goes completely nuts out. Like they did it. They can't do they're never going to do an accurate future. They just do the most nuts future possible. And then they do, and Robert Zemeckis wanting to be Robert Zemeckis and do the new technology thing has to have them meet themselves and be inserted into the other films, and because that's all motion control. The stuff like the dinner scene in Back to the Future 2, I could do that now with the technology that's available, but then they had to use a motion control rig, which is fucking insane. It's completely bananas. I'm not saying I'd do it well. I'm just saying. I can do it.
At that thing,
I can't come up with another 3 easily. They're all solid because we've talked about Indiana Jones endlessly.
Indiana Jones
is displeasing to
India's
us.
technically no longer a trilogy, but yeah.
Anyone who says quintology gets kicked up the arsehole.
With Winkle Piggers.
Probably not really to Duncan's taste, but John Doe says the Evil Dead trilogy, and I'll go in for that one. I like all of those. I think they're all great.
No, I do. Yeah, nothing against those. I haven't really watched them much. In fact, I think I've only seen one of them, which I'm not even sure which one it is. But yeah, in fact, I've got it here, so I'll be able to tell you somewhere. I think.
The Evil Dead Army of Darkness on bloody YouTube keeps.
Is it?
Yeah, Dan keeps putting it in for the monthly watch parties.
I've got. I think it's Army of Darkness that I've got. It's in there somewhere. It's in my basket of.
People are asking.
Blu-rays.
So whilst you're looking, people are asking about the new Planet of the Apes films. I really, really like Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I think it's really, really good. I think the second and third one are fine. I don't dislike them. I like them,
one,
but
I really like the second one. But I. Do you know what? Yeah, I would go for that. I don't think they've had the lasting appeal that you would kind of want necessarily. But I would. I could go in for that. I could go in for those. Those are really solid films.
Yeah, they're very solid. Yeah.
The last War of Planet of the Apes, the wrap up in it wasn't as good.
I think that's what wore me out a bit. I really, really liked the first one, and I thought the other two were good, and I did enjoy them, but I didn't find them particularly memorable for my taste. I thought the first one was a really nice version of that story. Wing Kong Exchange astutely says John Wick trilogy, just saying before they make another one, which is because you and I both enjoy the John's Wick, don't we?
I do think there has been a law of diminishing returns with them, though. I can objectively say that I think the third one. You've seen the third one?
I have now, yes.
Yeah, I mean it very much felt like it felt quite tired every time they would get into another fight. It was kind of like, oh, here we go again. But I still liked it, and I would still go to bat for it because I do think it's still got legs, and I do think they should keep doing them. In fact, I saw Scott Atkins is in the fourth one.
Oh, is he? But about time, he's perfect for that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, and because Donnie Yen's in it, and people like they've just thrown all the martial arts people at it basically. So which is really exciting.
Oh, Donnie Yen's okay, cool. It needs to be mega. That's good. Oh, the Cornetto trilogy, says Mr. HEC. Yeah, I personally, the thing is, they are not really films, sequels. Yeah, they're thematically linked, but they're not. It's not a continuing story, so it's kind of, doesn't. People are saying the Dollars trilogy. That's one I can. Oh, yeah, sure. Not seen them.
Yeah.
The thoughts on the Matrix trilogy. The first one is good. The Matrix, I just kind of feel those come off the boil so fucking quickly. The Matrix movies. Yeah,
they seem to lose because that's the weird thing. The first one's such a sort of tight thing in terms of not only the story that it's telling, but more broadly the kind of thematic side of it. It's really well considered and sort of tight as a drum as far as that's concerned. And then it just seemed by the second one, it's like did you?
Did you even know?
Hi, did you even know? Like, did you actually make that one? Because for some reason you seem to have just jettisoned all of that kind of, and then it's turned into this
solid one and done premise. I think, and the ending does kind of set up sequels, but it doesn't really, because then he flies off. Sure, it was sequel, but not really. Like the point of the film was that he discovered himself and his true identity and was able to change and find his place in the world and change that world. The point wasn't that he's going to raise an army from the underground and blah-de-blah-de-blah, and the prophet said that the third prophecy of the second generation, like, blah.
Because isn't the thing at the end of it, he says, like, he's talking to the machines or something on the phone, he just says, like, now it's going to change or whatever, and blah, blah, blah. And like you say, he flies off, and it's like, well, the point is, he can fly now.
Yeah.
It's like, so he has become all, whatever, and it's kind of like, what story are you going to tell? And then, like, obviously painted themselves into a corner, and it's just, like, got to be about how he's the fifth version, and it's kind of like, is that so? There were a bunch of Keanu looking the ones or Neos, or whatever. You're just kind of really.
I wonder if because it kind of felt at the time like they were going to do a Star Wars, but they had nothing because there was nothing more to tell, so they had to pull this stuff out their ass. And you know what? Warner Brothers probably went to the Wachowskis and said, "Here's a fabulously large amount of money. Make more of that, please." You got another one coming. That's done. Yeah. That's wrapped. That's sorted, mate. Like, that's happening. Are you able to check the paid pal and we'll do a total?
Yeah.
Omar has just posted a message, a better summation than I could have done about tonight. So on Super Chats for the PSPA, we have made £94.81.
Oh, excellent.
Very good show. So we'll get that totted up and sent off to them, along with the paid pal. A really big thank you, says Omar, to everyone who donated tonight. PSP is a really debilitating brain disorder that affects men more than women, mainly over the age of 60. Please check out the NHS website as well. So thank you. This was all done in honour of Omar and Omar's dad, who passed away this week. So thank you so much, all of you, for putting your hands in your pockets. And
we've made £45.
Hey, all right, nice. So there you go. But a nice bit of scratch that we'll send off. Yeah. So thank you so much. If I do another big bike ride this year, I will do it for them. That will be this year's cause du jour. This year's cause of the day. Good French. But yes, I'm supposed to cycle to Brighton again this year at some point. Maybe I'll do something else. And do it for that. So thank you so much, everyone. That's much.
He's going to cycle with his testes hanging out.
With my Megalodon out. With my big burrowing arms.
That's how he cycles.
Yeah.
He puts his hands on the pedals and does that.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of like, I don't even use the pedals. It's just like when Banana Man swims through the air, and I just swim through the air. Oh, Champagne 78. Sorry, it's a question directed to me. How about the second Dead trilogy, Richard? Land, Diary, and Survival. Survival is pretty weak. What you say? I really, really like Land of the Dead. Diary of the Dead is kind of like, okay, fine, and then Survival's just like, absolutely not, thank you. I don't want this at all. For me, like the original Romero trilogy is yet another solid trilogy. So I would say that, wouldn't I?
Fair.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah. No, I just can't think off the top of my head. I mean, I think Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Jedi are all pretty solid
That's
films.
the classic example, isn't it? That used to be the Holy Trilogy before they started piling more on.
Jedi gets a lot of grief, but I do think it's a great film.
Jedi's brilliant. It's possibly my favourite. Does Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, and Voyage Home count as a trilogy? I mean, it does in itself. They were kind of made sort of like that, but that's part of a series of 13 or 14 movies, so kind of taking a trilogy out. They are, that is a complete story in 3 movies. I mean, that is the point. So you are right, but it's part of a bigger thing. So it's a bit.
It's like me saying Casino Royale to Skyfall.
Right, because they follow a kind of line, don't they?
Sort of. Well,
I mean, those 3 Star Trek movies do. They didn't plan to do it, but it does very much tell a complete 3-act story across those 3 movies. So but it's when it's in the middle of something.
Yeah.
Brian Shields says Terminator trilogy, Terminator 1, Terminator 2, and Dante's Peak. The true Terminator 3.
That's it.
Omar says that's absolutely fantastic. Big thanks from my mum. And give our best to your mum, Omar, of course.
Yes, please do.
So well, as we just established, the Terminator trilogy. Hold on a minute.
All right, he's off. I shall filibuster while he's gone. No, good trilogies. Rambo.
My ever unreliable DSLR froze as it does, and now I've turned it back on. It's gone into some kind of nuclear mode, so I have to deal with that. Just a sec.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Sake.
Well, which is ESOS webcam utility. Predator trilogy. No. I don't agree with that. Richard isn't here to defend himself, so I shall simply say that I think Predators was terrible, and he agrees with me. Oh, he's back. There he is.
Oh, what did I just?
What
did I just agree with you about? Something cool. I bet something cool and exciting.
Something. Yes. Yeah. I was just telling them off air. You had agreed with me finally on a certain film and how it's not very good.
Right. Yeah. That sounds like the kind of thing I would say. Sometimes I use my Canon DSLR for these streams. It doesn't fucking work properly, and it conks out, and that's what happens. So there you go. That's what's happening with me. So should we give it 10 minutes and then fuck off?
I think that's a good idea.
Right.
Fuck off.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sam Duxbury asked when the when the Type 2 Bleed trailer is coming out. The Type 2 Bleed trailer is complete. but we are sort of complete. We're kind of there's a strategy, isn't there? Which I think is going to be.
Yes, we're going to hopefully. I mean, I'm not sure how far away we are from having the full picture done. If you've got an edit. I'm not going to say on air. Questions.
I'm not going to say on air, but we're yes. We're close. We're closer than ever. I think we've had the matte paintings back. The CGI is coming in from Rob, piece by piece. Thank you very much, Rob. Liam was doing Foley all of yesterday. Liam had, I won't say, but I don't know if you saw it in the group. But Liam's doing Foley and music. Liam's focusing on stuff.
I saw pork chops and a knife.
Yes, I've got every shot, every insert, everything's there. We're just waiting for the CGI and the sound and the music.
Amazing.
So I will tighten that edit up. Getting quite close. Yeah. The trailer, there's a strategy which, between Duncan and exec Bill Bussett's, that'll probably be decided there. I've been talking about maybe doing like a Patreon reveal for it, but I'm not going to promise anything there because this is all down to the strategy and how things are going to work. But it'd be nice to do a Patreon exclusive look at the trailer. And then, of course, sooner or later it's going to end up. The trailer will be on YouTube and Instagram and stuff eventually.
Yeah, we'll be releasing sort of stills and clips and all that kind of thing because I think there's a lot of content mining, as it were, to be done there. So it's
nearly done. Nearly done. I'm looking forward to getting it out into the world. But it's quite exciting. Like I say, Liam's doing his thing at the moment. Rob's doing his thing. Dan's matte paintings have slotted in very nicely, which I'm really excited about. So now it looks like we've got a camera sort of 40 feet in the air instead of 15 or whatever it was. You weren't there for that day. That's when I played you in a kind of over the head thing, because we can't see you from the shoulders up, right? So I played you, and so I had your costume and stuff. But we had this horrifying. It's my very expensive camera on a fucking light stand and a T-bar, and because it had to run off of I had to have just the hard drive hanging off it like a willy hanging out a pair of flies. And it's just like gaffer tape for safety, and it's like, this is fine, this is fine, everything's fine.
God, yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yep, go for it.
There's Winco Exchange sent £5. Said best trilogy surely has to be Spider-Man, Spider-Man Strikes Back, and Spider-Man: The Dragon's Challenge. Case
Wincon wins. I don't know how anyone we can't refute that, mate. That's solid gold. Those bloody things. They were fun to watch, though. Oh, Rob says nice new shot coming soon. I have a nice new shot coming soon. It's exciting. Oh, wow. Okay. Exciting.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you very much.
First VFX thing Rob sent over. Rob, I'm sorry I didn't reply to you. I just basically haven't slept this week. I need to send you a proper reply. But I got the stuff in, and it's looking good, man. It's exciting.
We're very blessed to have Rob on board. I mean, I can't, that can't be overstated. And everyone else, of course, but and Dan's amazing matte painting and stuff. But we're super, super, super lucky and blessed. Dan's
working on our poster as well, and you'll be able to buy the poster at some point. I don't know what the poster's going to look like. Very excited to see that.
A shark with a big
if he just handed in it's an oil painting of a shark with a cock and a big arms, and it's
with Jason Statham slathering canola oil trying to grip a slippery Statham.
It just says types you bleed coming soon.
Jason Slippery Statham.
Jason Slippery Statham.
It's just what is this?
Well, I'm dying to show the trailer. I've showed the trailer to all my family and all my friends because I was just sort of I'm really excited. But I can't.
I've seen.
You fucking want to, Irv? Jesus Christ.
I've seen one. No, I have seen one, but I didn't.
Liam tweaked the music, and so there's a better one. Okay. Liam, I did it, and I just got Liam's track and slapped over and butchered the end. And Liam kind of went, "Okay, let me just fix that." Fixed it, and then put a bunch of sound design in it as well. So, when the computer's typing, it's like, whereas I just had it silent in my crappy one. Sam Montgomery. But what about the Highlander trilogy? Surely that's got to be the bestest trilogy ever conceived. There is that. To be fair, that is the bestest. Ninja Turtles trilogy. Fuck me, Jesus Christ. That goes to that goes next to fucking Master of the Universe, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've watched those films since I was a kid. Not really.
They're very
I used to
weird.
love the second one.
Oh yeah,
But,
yeah.
yeah, when I was a kid,
That's one of the movies. My dad took me to see that in the cinema on Hills Road when that came out. I think that and Home Alone 2 I went to with my dad, and so I remember in the Turtles movie, like all the grown-ups were laughing at it, and all the kids were just kind of like, "What are you doing?" Like it's so serious, and like the grown-ups were laughing at a rat doing kung fu in a cage. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But it's supposed to be like, you're not really supposed to take it seriously, grown-ups. But I remember the grown-ups having a rare old time just laughing at the movie, and the kids taking it deadly seriously, of course.
Yeah. I think I went and saw that in the cinema. Well, the first one, I think I saw I must have seen the second one in the cinema as well, because that was more sort of kid-friendly, if anything. So
yeah, they kind of, because the first one's quite weird and quite dark, and it adheres to the
it's really
comics
dark,
quite closely, and it's made by Golden Harvest, who like a Chinese action film producer. It's really weird. And Jim Henson did I think there's a lot to be said for it as a strange anomaly. And then it was Halloween was the highest grossing independent film of all time until Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
It's got a very weird story. Do I want to watch it? Not really. Like reading about it and thinking about it as a moment in time, I think it's very interesting. I think do I actually want to watch it? No, thank you. no, thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah, it was a weird, because it was a weird choice, because you kind of like they were jumping on the bandwagon of the success of the cartoon and everything.
Yes, yeah,
and they really made it more. I think I read some of the comics, but they seem to make it much more in the vein of that.
And it's a very it was inevitable. It was just because of the money of that. It was this hugely inevitable thing. But then, they could have just made it, like you say, like the cartoon show, but they didn't. They seemed to go to the source material and treat it very respectfully, which is unusual. Which they then kind of, walked back really with the second one, and hey ho, let's get Vanilla Ice in here and everything.
Yeah. I mean, I think the second one still maintained a certain sense of it until obviously, like, it's fucking werebears fighting.
Go ninja, go ninja, go ninja, go ninja, go. Yeah.
And then Super Shredder or whatever at the end.
Right.
When I was like, why did the mutant, the ooze? Why did the ooze make his costume bigger and spikier?
I'm so glad, because you and I were both that pedantic questioning kid. But that's good.
Oh, God,
you shouldn't just cut corners because it's for kids. You should fucking do it properly. So Pixar do it properly. You know what I mean? They don't fucking.
It used to bug me, like elements of costumes and stuff being changed.
Yes,
movies
yeah.
Being like for no apparent reason. It's like they don't even address it or whatever, and it's like, no, what? That shouldn't look like that.
Same. There are still things that bother me like that from some film that came out 25 years ago or whatever. It's kind of like, but this is supposed to carry on directly after the last moment from the previous film. Why is his shirt different? Like, why? Why? Someone tell me. Who do you think I'm an idiot?
Was it Quantum of Solace? Like, following on from Casino Royale, like he's in a completely different. It's supposed to be like straight off from afterwards, but because they changed costume designers and it went from Brioni to Tom Ford, he's in a different suit, and it's like they've tried to approximate it, but it's like it's not the same one at all. It's not a three-piece suit for a start, and it's just like, why even do that? Why, if you can't get the suit, surely you can just get the suit out of your wardrobe department or whatever and just do it.
Is it whatever contract's been signed, and then they have to go to the director and go like, you have to wear a different suit, and the director goes like, what? And they just go, too bad, it's legal, you got to do it.
But I'm pretty sure they make the suits for the films. It's just like, tell them to make you that suit, but Tom Ford,
and you can still slap Tom Ford all over the marketing and whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But I know, it's just like, fucking hell. Like, but
fucking hell.
So it used to bother me that Darth Vader's thing went. Is it in Star Wars? It goes over his
and
thing,
then it's
and then
underneath.
After that, it's underneath it.
And the thing gets bigger and bigger as well.
What thing?
The kind of triangle over his mouth. It gradually gets larger. And by the third movie, he's very shiny. He looks much better though. Return of the Jedi slaps. I love Return of the Jedi. It's fucking brilliant.
I love Jedi. Brilliant. I do think it gets bogged down when they're on the planet Moon of Endor, not Endor, but Is it
the forest moon of Endor?
The forest moon.
Is it Endor, or is it the forest moon of Endor? I guarantee you the chat's got this. Like, that'll be on Wikipedia. That'll have a whole series of novels about the planet or whatever. Fucking...
But it sort of loses pace there, but it's still great, and it's got an energy
to it. I think I know what you mean.
It's got
it starts to slow in the middle part, but
I think it as a sort of thematic energy, it's really great as well.
So cathartic,
you know it's coming to a conclusion. Well, exactly, yeah. You know, because of the other films, they that's the thing. It's like the first one is what it is, but it's probably my least favorite one to watch because it's sort of like
it doesn't quite know what it is, does it? And it's sort of janky, but it doesn't quite. I was thinking about this the other night while I wasn't sleeping. So I was thinking about I started off with fucking Rise of Skywalker with Ian McDiarmid, and they get him to come back and be a pantomime villain and go nah, and it's like I don't really like the prequels, but Ian McDiarmid's a wonderful actor, and his kind of camp hamminess, he knows exactly what he's doing, and he has so much to do in those prequel movies, particularly the last one. Loads of really interesting stuff. I think he's a great performer. And then it took me back to Return of the Jedi, and in Return of the Jedi, you have to meet this character, realise they were behind everything, it was all their fault, and learn to hate them in not much screen time. Because it's suddenly kind of like, there's the Emperor in the second one, which they've now replaced with Ian McDiarmid, but he's on screen for like 30 seconds. And then he has to come in and do so much with so little. And they really satisfyingly make you essentially go, oh no, it was him all along. And there's so little time to do it, and they do it so effectively that when he dies, you really want him to fucking be punished. You really want him to get it because it's really well written, but it's just an amazing performance by McDiarmid. I think he does this a really kind of virtuoso thing, brilliantly thespy kind of.
It has to. Well, he has to be a sort of the dark side personified, doesn't he? He has to be the thing that is keeping because Darth Vader is now his father. There has to be a redemption arc, which means he can't be the big bad. He's got to be there's got to be something above him that's a demon he's got to slay or whatever. I mean, but it works, like you say, it's brilliantly cathartic, and I just love that when he throws him down the side, he just sort of goes, he's just really annoyed.
Like Jules Holland.
Yeah, he sounds like Jules Holland. Jules Holland taking a big foot stamping shit.
A pancracker. On that bombshell.
On that
bombshell. Thank you for coming for this very special Statham stream. We're going to sign off for the time being. I'm going to say this out loud so I do it. So I need to bring back on Patreon there's an exclusive series called So You Want to Be a Filmmaker, where I talk about grown-up filmmaking things in terms of running a business as a filmmaker and working as a freelancer. And I wanted to do a special for you called My 16mm Hell. And I want to talk to you about the time I made some 16mm films at uni and how awful it was. And I did mention I was going to dig up our film Harvey's Revenge and do a commentary for that. I'm going to expand that. I'm going to try and find the DVD for our awful 60mm colour film, The Whirlwind, which was my personal Hearts of Darkness, one of the worst weeks of my life. So I'm going to put together a little something especially for Patreon called My 60mm Hell, which I'd like you to watch out for. Also, we have Private Watch Party, of course, later in the month. We're going to try and fling some more exclusive content use guys way, so that's a few. £45 on PayPal, £99.82 for PSA in memory of Omar's dad. So thank you so much, you've all been amazing tonight, as you usually are, but today we've channeled our immature nonsense to a greater cause, and that's been really nice. So shall we go to credits, Duncan?
Let's do.
All right, we love you.
Thank you all.
See you auf dem flip side.